to YouTube. I'm hopefully streaming to both of those. Facebook, I just need to go live here. And now I should be streaming out to, let's have a look now. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's looking good. That's looking right. On Facebook.
I've got you on D Live.
Let me just make sure that this is correct on yeah, that's good. Okay, so on D Live, John's here on Discord, and he shouldn't have any echo, I'm hoping. You should have no echo, and he should hear no echo. I've just done 11 technical tests, at least, to try and sort out this bloody audio, and we've still got some problems. But so, John, what can you see? You're watching on D Live.
I'm watching. I can see you.
Is the audio good? That's the main thing.
Well, I'd have to turn D Live up for that.
Yeah. Okay. And we got Jeff here as well on Discord. So we've been doing some technical tests all afternoon. It
sounds fine.
Good. Excellent. Well, look, if in the comments, I'm going to keep a close eye. So, folks, whether you're on D Live, where you should be, you get the video too, and you get to see the news section and all that. That's gov.ly/chaos. Yeah, it's on the page there. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, it's on the page where you need to go to if you want to see it all in sync with the video. And I've increased the video quality, the bit rate that goes up to D Live for the first time today. I've kind of given it 50% a boost, and I've reduced the rate on Facebook and on YouTube because I'm not going to be putting video on there, apart from on Saturday when Daily Brexit is going to be covering London, boots on the ground in London town. But apart from that, and that will be on Facebook only from 11 a.m. on Saturday, covering the Independence Day. But apart from that, we are going audio only on Facebook and YouTube from now on. So you're going to have to go over to gov.ly/chaos, to go to D Live and check it out there and register. And then it takes a couple of weeks. Yeah. It's a pain for your registration to come through. But we've got to start using D Live, Steam it, other sites that basically are not Facebook, not YouTube, that cannot be controlled by the kind of regime that wants to impose Article 13 on us, for God's sake, whereby it will be just so difficult for us to share information and to have a dialogue about things that affect us so much. So this is really important, people, really important. Get over to D Live for the next couple of weeks or during this transition or for as long as it takes. I will do my best to attend to the comments on Facebook and on YouTube, whilst, hopefully more and more people are coming across to D Live. But look, help me out, folks, and get over there because the comments are looking a bit bare over there. They're mainly on Facebook and YouTube. And look, Article 13 comes into force. It's going to change the web as we know it, and we need to be prepared. All right. Okay, folks. Yeah. Should be an interesting show today. I've got absolutely no idea what it's going to be about. But it's always interesting, isn't it? 8 minutes, people. God bless you. Right, Carl says it's all good on D Live. Cheers, Carl. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate hearing that. Thank you. I'm hoping that these audio problems are going to be largely eliminated now. Oh, blimey. It was more than 11 tests today. It must have been about 15, 16 bloody audio tests. And a big cheers to Predator Jeff and Downliner for helping me with that. Thanks, guys. You're there, yeah? You're there.
Yep, we're here, Ollie.
Cool. Well, hopefully there's no echo from them, but as usual, Jeff's just got a crap mic. Blimey.
Why? Because I'm not speaking right up to it.
There you go. That's better, man. Do, 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 do. 5-6 minutes, folks. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Jazz Club.
Whoa. Nice, man. Whoa. Yeah, smashy.
Really flying the music. Okay.
Yeah, whoa, funky.
The band sounds great. Double penny whistle track. How are you?
Now, hold on a sec. What's this, Thomas White? The show was not on D-Live, he says. Yeah. gov.ly/chaos. Surely. Hold on. I'll have a look.
Thank you.
Oh, blimey. Couple of minutes, folks. Yeah. Hold on. Are you going to go on to the next bloody song or what? Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. Now look, while you're about it on D-Live, you can upvote this thing too, can't you? Do that, for goodness sake. It earns me about tuppence halfpenny a show. Right, okay, Carl says it is on D-Live, Ollie. And you all should be watching on D-Live, yeah? gov.ly/rant. No, chaos. Yeah, good GUV. Right, should we just start this thing? Oh, let's just start this thing. Crying out loud. Alright, that'll do. Hey folks! Good evening, good people. Welcome to the Daily Chaos. Less chaotic today. The show ain't daily, but the chaos is. And thanks everybody for telling me that apparently it's going out tech free, tech problems free. It's been one of those afternoons, yeah. I've got Downliner and Predator Jeff here on Discord. We've been trying to work out this audio hassle I've had over the last couple of shows. Can you hear me, Jeff? John?
Yeah, loud and proud, mate.
Loud and clear.
Okay, and they should be loud and proud too, huh? And echo free. Echo free. This is a call-in today. I did have a guest, but my guest has gone AWOL, and I wonder if he's been Facebook jailed, you know? Quite likely. He is a hunter. Dave Hunter, gone AWOL. He wanted to be anonymous. We were going to mask his voice. That would have been fun. So anyway, he's not turned up. I had a backup, but my backup's out of range, apparently, in a tent tonight. Which is a pity. Benjamin Jenkins from nibevandnews.co.uk. I'm hoping that you'll come on soon. Right, okay. I'm just hoping that we can get a bloody show out, technical free, technical problems free for a change. It's such a nightmare the last couple of shows. Thanks for everybody that's showing up on Facebook, on YouTube, and particularly on D-Live, yeah? That's the place to watch this show. Look, you guys have got to be as concerned as I am about Article 13, about this proposed legislation by the EU, basically to clamp down on any kind of speech online, pretty much, that involves non-original content. So if you use content from anybody else, whatever kind of content it is, then you could possibly, under this new legislation, be pulled up and censored by the likes of Facebook before it even goes out. I would imagine that they would be expecting the social networks to uphold their legislation, I would imagine. And therefore, we need, and in any case, should not be supporting these fascist networks, instead of which we should be using networks like D-Live, like Steemit, and anything that is independent, that is standing up for our rights as opposed to the rights of globalist government, for God's sake. Aye. But it is very difficult, isn't it? It is very difficult. We are going to be talking tonight a bit about the 23rd as well, coming up. Yeah. Daily Brexit is going to be there on the streets of London. I'm going to be there. And really looking forward to meeting some of you folks there as well. It's going to be terrific. I think it's going to be a big celebration, I hope, on what it is to basically be proud about your sovereignty and to want to uphold it and your culture. And it's pretty cynical, is it not, that Sadiq Khan is holding a celebration about Eid, for God's sake. Whatever the hell that's got to do with being British. In Trafalgar Square on the same afternoon. Eid actually finished, did it not, Jeff? I think over a week ago. Is this not just a cynical move by this caliphate wannabe mayor, Sadiq Khan, to just throw his oar in?
Well, it seems to me like it's an attempt to cause disruption deliberately. I don't know. I might be wrong about that, but who knows?
This guy is such an arse, I tell you. I saw this video of him just recently being interrogated pretty much because he wouldn't answer the question about why there are these, I don't know, religious maniacs running around on the streets with flags with Kalashnikovs on them. And he's like, oh, you know, it's a matter for the police. It's a matter for the Home Office. It's not a matter for me. The matter for me is only to make sure that the police are, you know, we've got the right funds going into there. Yeah, well, what's the reduction in bobbers on the street, huh? And they can't go into these no-go zones and God knows what. The guy's an absolute disgrace. This guy really is a disgrace. This video, he was just completely evading answering that question. And you know, full marks to, you know, the guys that were grilling him on that anyway. Oh, blimey. I'll tell you what, should we do... Go on, Jeff.
Welcome to 21st century Englandistan.
Oh, blimey. Right, okay. Let's have a look and see some news, shall we? See what's going on in the world of fake stream. And then I'll take some comments from you guys. And it has been... I haven't prepared this show at all, by the way, really. My guest fell out of bed, but more concerningly, I had to spend all afternoon trying to work out what on earth was going on with the tech, yeah. So hold on a sec. I'm trying to get why can I not get the media panel there to show up on DLive? I know you can't see it on Facebook and YouTube, but you don't deserve to anyway. But they do on DLive because they're watching this on the right place. So let me see if I can get this up for them. Crying out loud. Hold on a sec. Let me just see if I can sort this out. There we go. Try that and try that. There we go. That's better. I don't know what that was. Right. Okay. So what's going on in the world of fake stream today? The papers, GCHQ chief warns Europe of need for Brexit security deal. Still rumbling on. You know what? Never mind any of that. Let's just go to what's going on this afternoon. Yeah. And this is really it. Brexit, number 10 and rebels stand firm in row over meaningful vote. Both sides say they will not back down in latest Commons clash on EU withdrawal bill. That's the Grawny ad. Let's see what Express are reporting on this now. Stop Brexit, Jacob Rees-Mogg heckled by loud-mouthed Ramonas during loud interview. Look, never mind that. What's going on with the bloody vote? Right, okay. Brexit live. Parliament votes down Dominic Grieve's amendment. Right, okay. This is the story. What is going on here? Theresa May has staved off defeat from Tory rebels. This is them giving the result.
Right, 303. The noes to the left, 319.
The ayes to the right, 303.
303.
The noes to the left,
Olly,
319.
went there for a
So the
second.
noes have it.
319.
The noes
303.
have it.
Okay, 303 to 319. 303 to 319. That is how badly that woman did with that general election, yeah? When she said that she was going to, I don't know, have elderly people executed or something in a manifesto to try and create a Labour government. Jesus, unbelievable. Jeff, you say the audio went funny there. Jeff?
Yeah, the audio went for a few seconds. Don't know why.
Okay, all right. This is good news all in all, yeah? This is good news all in all. Whilst I've been testing the audio on this damn machine, according to Express, Parliament votes down Dominic Grieve's amendment. Dominic bloody Grieve, MP for Beaconsfield, deselect your MP. You voted for Brexit. South Bucks voted for Brexit. Dominic Grieve ran on a manifesto for Brexit, and Dominic Grieve has since been trying to create a situation where they could slide in bloody Brino by the not such a back door, yeah, denying the opportunity of a no-deal scenario. That's what this Subri sewer and the likes of Greaves wants. Blimey, Grieve, whatever. Yeah, the Prime Minister was facing the prospect of losing the crucial vote on her flagship EU withdrawal bill to grant Parliament more power over the divorce process. But following a tense morning for ministers, MPs voted with the government by 319 to 303 after a last-minute concession to appease Tory rebels was drawn up. So what's the concession? The group of pro-EU Conservatives, led by former Attorney General Dominic bloody Grieve, had threatened to defy the party whip. They should be denied the party whip, Theresa May. Kick them out. They're no bloody good to this Brexit government. It is a Brexit government, is it? To ensure MPs were granted a meaningful vote on Brexit, they argued the Commons should be given the ability to direct ministers and potentially stop the split if British negotiators are unable to strike a deal with Brussels, i.e. no deal, go to WTO rules, which a lot of us say is way better than anything we've seen so far from this ridiculous Prime Minister. I mean, we're crying out loud. Merkin is hanging by a thread in Germany, stroke the USSR, whatever it is. Hanging by a thread. Look at Italy, Slovenia, for crying out loud everywhere. She has the most incredible hand for a quality Brexit break. And for them to start, yeah, guess what? They want to sell BMWs. That's it. That's it. It's as simple as that. Quite aside from the fact that it's probably treasonous that we're in there in the first place. If you want to call in, it's your calls tonight, yeah, on gov.ly/rant. Because I don't want to be the only one doing the ranting. Yeah. I'll read through the rest of this story. The Prime Minister managed to avoid defeat after Mr. Davis wrote to MPs to assure them Commons Speaker John Bercow would be hung? No, sadly not. Would ultimately decide, hold on, whether the House, John Bercow, man, you idiot. Davis, John Bercow, for God's sake. Hold on a sec, I'll read that again. The Prime Minister managed to avoid defeat after Mr. Davis wrote to MPs to assure them Commons Speaker John I Hate Donald Trump and everything to do with democracy, Bercow, would ultimately decide whether the House could have a meaningful vote. He hasn't got a meaningful brain cell. Previous wording put forward by ministers had only granted MPs the power to note the government's Brexit position. That's right. And that was kicked up to the Lords, and the Lords kicked it back down to the Commons. And that's what this vote's about. So now the concession is Bercow gets to decide. Jeff. Jeff, can you hear me, man? I don't know why these purple people are here. We got Lynn Scott. What would you like to say, Lynn? Can you hear me?
Ollie. Sorry,
that's
Ollie.
all right. No, that's all right. That's okay. Lynn, what would you like to say?
Hi, can you hear me?
What do you think? What do you think, my dear, about the prospect now of no deal Brexit, i.e. Brexit, yeah? If they want to sell us BMWs, guess what? There'll be a trade deal like that. Never mind this Northern Ireland crap. if they want to sell BMWs and God knows whatever else to us, there will be a trade deal just like that. There will be no problem with Northern Ireland. There will be no problem at all. And now the whole prospect of that is left up to this globalist Bilderberg, Burko. Lynn, it just beggars belief. It's a panto. This guy doesn't even want to stretch out a red rug to the leader of the Western world, for God's sake.
This was all set out before we even had the referendum. What was going to happen? I'm. When David Cameron was actually having all these meetings with Europe before the referendum to try and get a deal, I think he was actually negotiating how they were going to manage the situation we're in now.
Hold on a sec. Why is your microphone? You sound as though you're ruffling your microphone up next to a jumper, something like that.
It's a new headset. I've lost my other one. That's why I said, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, you sound great. It's really good. That's fantastic. Thank you. It's really,
really.
I tell you, it's so nice when audio is good. No.
Okay.
Aye. Okay, sorry. Go on. You were saying. I mean.
Yeah, I just think the whole thing. Right, it is a panto, but the whole thing is it's been pre-written. It's all going to plan. And that's why Mrs. May has to be brought in, because she was in on it, and she's the one that will facilitate the plan.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's it.
I agree.
We're just being taken the pee out of.
The scripted circus show.
Yeah, that's John.
Exactly.
We've got Carl here too. Carl Stephen, how are you, man? Let me take a few comments. Yvonne Tierney says, okay. Yvonne Tierney is asking, Thomas is, okay, they're discussing the 23rd. Folks, yeah, the 23rd, call in, tell us your plans. There's a carpool thing, isn't there? Lynn, you put together the carpool thing. Tell us about it, because this is really practical, really useful.
Yeah, well, that's just... I've not been very well for the last 4 or 5 days, so I'm sort of sat here thinking, what can I do? I thought, well, I think that would help people. But what I want to know is it useful? Is it easy to use? Can you find it? And if there's anybody else that's got any input that I can make as an admin that can utilize it better than I am at the moment, then just speak up, and I'll just make you an admin and carry on.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's cool. And if somebody could please put the address.
It's just there for general, general use for everybody.
Let me see if I can find it. It is. It's great. It's great. I mean, these are the things we need. We got to get people out on the streets on Saturday. We've also got to, enjoy it. Yeah, not be provoked by this Eid festival. We've just got to completely ignore that. It disgusts me. I know the geography, as do many of you, and certainly you guys that were there at the Free Tommy a couple of weeks ago, which suggests to us, does it not, that this is going to be a great turnout this Saturday, because it was for that. It's where is it? The Cenotaph's in the street that Whitehall is the street between Parliament Square and Trafalgar Square, and you've got Downing Street, the gates to Downing Street, kind of like 1/3 of the way along from Parliament Square, only 200-300 meters from this Eid festival, the heart of it in Trafalgar Square. That is very provocational, is it not, Lynn? It has to be said. We've got to be good, yeah.
It's not been planned, has it? Obviously, it's not been planned that way. Of course, it hasn't.
Yvonne is saying, Ollie, could you not have read out my post before that one? Yeah, no, sure, please, blimey. Okay, Helen Lasky-Smith, Burko should be taken down. I thought that he was being investigated about things he says. I think he apologized for basically being misogynistic or whatever. Thomas White, about Andrea Leadsom, no? I think he called her a silly woman or something like that. He's a Berg. He is a Berg. Anyway, Thomas White, I think Kelly Wilson is sorting it out for lifts for people all over the country. Christine O'Sullivan, I'd rather watch Olly. Oh, Christine, I don't know what that is. Dominic Grieve is half French, says Elaine Stonelake. Went to a French school in London and broadcasts on French radio. I didn't know that. Perhaps he is not coming from a patriotic British interests angle. Google Dominic Grieve. I tell you, he's a... Yeah. And I was having a bit of a rant. Lauren Kane says, Yvonne, have you looked on the car share site? Ollie pinned it in last night's show. And I'll pin it again if somebody can please put the address up there. Or Lynn, remind us what it is. What's the group called?
It's just carpool.
Karaoke.
Just type carpool. Yeah, I can't remember. I say I'm really not very well at the moment, but carpool something.
I posted it in the comments on Facebook.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good on you. Good. Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Oh,
if anybody wants to take it on, they can.
Yeah.
I'll just make them an admin, and they can just make better use of it, maybe. And it's not. It wasn't for me. It was just a thought, and I just put it out there and hope that people would pick it up and run with it. Make use of it. That was
the site's actually called Carpool 23rd Independence March.
Thank you, Carl. You could rely on you.
I've pinned it in Facebook, and I've put it in the comments on D Live, but I can't on YouTube because they don't allow links, do they? Let me try. Oh yeah, it did. It did allow it. Oh, it did allow it. Apparently, I didn't. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, yeah. Let me just see if it actually opens it as well.
I mean, I don't even know whether it's functional or working properly. I just did it.
It's
I mean,
top
like
result.
I said, if anybody wants to take it, just send me a message and I'll make you an admin and it's all yours.
Okay, brilliant. So there it is. It's on the screen, people. The carpool for the 23rd Independence March. And I hope it is useful to people. And we've just got to get as many folks out on Saturday as we possibly can. I know the mainstream media aren't going to cover it properly. We all know that, but we've still got to do it. And I think we've got to do it as much as anything, just to G ourselves up. I think that we really owe ourselves a pat on the back, all of us, everybody. Just, have a kind of a bit of a group hug, frankly, and just keep going. And, but it is important. It's very symbolic as well. No? Am I just being, I don't know, romantic, Lynn?
No, because I mean, we could quite easily slip back and be sort of disheartened, couldn't we? 2 years down the line, and we're still no further on. But there we go.
We could follow the Irish route with the Lisbon Treaty, where the media convinced them that it was a bad idea.
Well, they're trying to, aren't they? Tony Blair. Tony Blair the other day, apparently, he came out and he said that he had felt that the chances of stopping Brexit was 25%. He now thinks it's 40%. Tony bloody war criminal, Charles Linton Miranda Blair.
Yeah, but when Ireland went back and made the Lisbon Treaty vote, they voted no, and the Irish government went to the EU and said the answer was no. And they said, "Oh, well, go on, have another go." And so they used the media to convince them that it was a bad idea, the bad decision that they made, and the second vote came out as yes. So
they did it in
that's
France.
What I was seeing, that's what
they're trying to do, isn't it?
They did it in France.
We can't let them have a
France and Italy. Sorry, go on.
Everywhere they don't like a decision.
And Norway, wasn't it?
We can't let them. They rig it.
It's incredible.
Every single government in this country and other countries, what gained power is the government what spent the most money before the election. So they're throwing money left, right, and centre and scaremongering. Even going back down to the other thing that they're overlooking on that is they need our British territorial waters, places like the Falkland Islands, because you can't have a world satellite defence system without having the antennae and broadcasting from the other side of the world. And the EU hasn't got those places. They belong to British territories. So we actually have paid 80% of it.
It's the same with
big scaremonger.
It's the same with our armed forces, Carl, isn't it? I mean, if they're going to be consumed into this PESCO thing under the command of the EU, that is all of the hundreds of years of investment in blood and treasure, and quite aside from the tradition and the experience off the back of that, all of that investment will be consumed into the EU. No?
PESCO will also involve our police force as well, and the police forces in Europe. It will merge the police force into the army.
And the average guy on the street is just looking forward to Wimbledon. Yeah, I've told a few of my friends, my old friends, that I'm coming to London for, you know, whatever. None of them have heard about what's going on the 23rd. None of them. And these folks are in touch with me on Facebook as well. It just goes to show how corralled we have become by social media. And the thing is that we have this dialogue, but to get this dialogue out beyond the choir is that's the key. And we just have to try everything we possibly can, everything we can. And one of the things is getting out there on Saturday. I know it's the mainstream media is not going to cover it, but another reason I personally want to be there is because when they spin and say how a bunch of right-wing, I don't know, fanatics are out on the street, I want to have video coverage which shows that that's not the case at all. It's just patriots. I really do hope to be able to provide that counter, but we need to get it out with this, whatever, everybody that's going to be streaming from there, we got to get that information out beyond the choir. And it's like an uphill battle with these social networks. And obviously the mainstream media is just not doing it, Carl.
That's true. One thing I do worry about is the elite media using the scenario of Tommy Robinson, what's happened to him. So if anything goes wrong with all these marches going on, because it's not just a Tommy Robinson march, is it? But I think the media is going to portray it as all these people are right-wing following Tommy Robinson, when you'll probably find that 60% of people going to these marches on Saturday don't actually follow Tommy Robinson. They might respect what he has done, but don't follow him as 20,000 went marching the other weekend. Sure. I do think the media will use it as a spin to blacken the 17.4 million people who actually want to get out of Europe.
Thomas White says the cops in our country don't know they will all be unemployed soon. When the police from Europe take their jobs, they will say it's a private police force when it's going to be PESCO. Irene Brand says she's just shared to everyone. Thank you, Irene. We just got to share as much of this stuff as we possibly can. We got to share it beyond Facebook and YouTube as well. I guess we got to be using Gab AI and Twitter and God knows what. But it is such an uphill battle, I have to say. Lynn, nonetheless, it is an important day, is it not, Saturday, for our various groups. And it's an opportunity, hopefully, to see some bridges built between some of these disparate groups, the Football Lads Alliance and others, no?
Yes, because our only hope is unity, and that's a fact. Unless a lot of the groups, even the sort of bickering going on within groups, it's so disheartening. It's like watching kindergarten.
Yeah. Yeah. I think even if you disagree with these folks that lead these groups, I think you basically still got to support them, no? I think I'm really hoping that there'll be a few olive branches around and about on Saturday. I mean, it would be really cool, no?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to be there, and I'll see if I can.
You better be there, girl. Get well.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm older than most of you, but it all just seems so futile. Is it that important? You know, the sort of like arguments people had months ago. Let's just forget all that. We've all got one goal, and move forward together as one. You don't have to like each other. It's not about me or you or anybody else. It's bigger than us. So we've got to forget our own personal feelings and just move forward as one unit, all unified in this. And if we don't do that, and we allow the trolls and the shit stirrers, for want of a better word, and there's plenty of them, stirring things up for I know not what, we'll be defeated. Don't talk to him because he said this. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic watching it. It makes me ashamed to be human sometimes. I think, are you actually the same species as me? I mean, there's loads of people I don't like, but I just don't speak to them. I stay away from them. I might agree with them on stuff, but I don't, I don't get on with my neighbour. But when my other neighbour, the other side, comes over, I don't start dissing that one, I just ignore them.
Yeah.
Life's too short.
Yeah,
And we've
God
got
bless
a
you.
mission. We've got to forget the pathetic pettiness and move on.
That's just pragmatism, isn't it? It's common pragmatism and it's common sense. Yeah, this is so important.
It's bigger than each individual. We've got to stand together, and it's bigger than any one of us.
We got Dr. Dawson here, Simon Dawson. What would you like to say, sir? His audio was bad last night as well. I don't know what it is with his rig. He needs a new headset too, maybe. Jeff, go on. You were going to say, mate.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm proud to be white and I'm proud to be a knuckle dragger, if that's what they want to refer to me as. A nice patriotic knuckle dragger and proud of it.
Me
That's
too,
what
Jeff.
we need to be.
Yeah. But it's beautiful. I mean, there's nothing wrong with respecting your own culture and other people's cultures, you know, if they're kind of, it just comes down to treating other people the way you expect to be treated yourself and expecting vice versa. And that's a question of respect and self-respect. Now, I mean, how can it be any more complicated than that, really? Elaine Stonelake says, with his Islamic Eid celebration on entirely the wrong date, Khan is hoping to set a trap for us to fall into as the lying media wait for Khan's trap to be sprung. As Khan's Islamic ambush us, and the media call it a British right-wing assault. Elaine Stonelake, you may well be right. Khan is in Theresa May's pocket, and she's in his. They're in Bilderberg pocket. Helen Lexi Smith, bless you. They're just in the Bilderberg, pocket. Shariana, we're in the destabilization phase, and folk are going against the police is part of it. Shariana. And Roy Pierce says, listen up. All of this started because of Tommy. UKIP support him and get him out now. Well, UKIP is supporting Tommy, isn't it? But no, it didn't start because of Tommy, did it, Roy? I mean, Tommy was a big part of it, and a big part of it. But, I mean, for me, this started about self-determination. It started about, that's the Brexit deal. And free speech, free speech. And not really also wanting to see my culture being decimated by, misogynist idiots and stuff like that. I would agree. But that's kind of like come along, as a side thing, with this wanton destruction purposely of Europe. But we're seeing that now, guys, aren't we? We're seeing more and more people are talking about that. Even this is where Angela Merkel is getting a kick in the teeth from her own coalition partners now, who are siding with the worries that they're showing in Italy, in Hungary, and in Austria. Yeah, the Europe, the EU. Sorry, not Europe. Yeah, the EU is imploding. So maybe we shouldn't bother on Saturday. Maybe Saturday's irrelevant. Maybe the fact that our Parliament is complicit and is hell bent on delivering. Not Brexit, Remain, absolutely. And just, dragging the whole damn thing out until they can keep us in by the back door. The only difference being that we don't have a veto. And we've lost our military and all the rest of it. But apart from that, it'd be business as usual. They would actually be taking more money from us. Plus, they are looking to raise their own taxes directly now, the EU. So they would be taking more from the British people as well from that way. But the fact is that the EU is imploding, is it not?
It certainly would appear to be so, especially with regards to Italy, I would say.
Yeah. See if I can bring up some stories. The very, very latest.
Something.
Go on. Yeah.
Should we not, as a nation, stop all this bloody subversion? Our ancestors knew what we had to do, and our ancestors set checks and balances in place in this country. For example, there had to be, we should have something like, 10 generations of being British to be in any position of influence and power. At least 10 generations to knock the foreign out of it and get back to some sort of sensible, sensible.
Yeah,
that's right. And they're talking about, you know, getting more Muslims into MPs and positions of power and that. Well, that shouldn't be the case. They should all be white, British, you know, patriotic.
Hold on a sec. They don't have to be white, man, for crying out loud. They've got to share the same values as, you know.
They've got to share our same ethnicity, surely. And I mean, if our ethnicity is white, British, then they should be white and British. That's what I believe.
You know, you see, hold on. Okay, this is interesting. I would take issue with that. I would say that in terms of the kind of rights that we have as a guest culture, that changes as you become more part of the host culture. And I would have thought that that naturally happens, but I would say that it doesn't happen immediately. I mean, for example, I'm a migrant, yeah. I live in Spain, married a Spaniard, and we were together in the UK for a decade, and then over here about the same amount of time. But I don't vote over here. I vote in the UK, and the reason for that is because my culture, personally, I feel it is British, is British English, really. Although I've got Irish and Scottish in me as well.
Your ethnic,
I would say that my cultural bias is British, and so I shouldn't be voting in Spain. That's my attitude. If I had kids, I would say it would be different for them. I mean, it would be different for them. They would be half and half, wouldn't they? But depending on where they were brought up as well, would change things as well. But I would say that they absolutely would have a right. No, my God, if they got Spanish blood, to have a say in their Spanish culture. Whereas personally, I don't think I should have any right at all. And I think that people that come in as migrants into a host culture should have no right at all over the way the country is governed. They are guests, even if they're married. But if they produce kids, then I think it's different. And then you're getting an organic. One thing about this, some people would say that's very hard line. Some people would say it's not hard enough. I would say it's a line. It's a line that it's you got to have some kind of line in immigration law and the rights of migrants and what have you. If there's a line like that, it assures that you don't get demographic engineering for political purpose. Yeah. Instead, you get an organic demographic, change as opposed to engineering. I don't know. What do you think about that? You don't think that's hard line enough?
I think our constitution needs to have more teeth. In other words, if you end up with one foreigner or one ethnically not so British, if there's only a couple of generations or something, and they end up in a position of power and their loyalties still lie with the foreign country, then they're going to tend to put other people from that country into positions of power, and before you know it, you're going to end up with a completely subverted situation. I don't agree with all this subversion that's going on, and I think it should be strict white British ethnicity totally throughout any positions of influence and power. If you start letting anybody else into that, they can subvert it. Simple. All right.
Well, Jeff, I tell you, mate, you're candid as ever, and I appreciate that. So we've got a Facebook user who, bless you, PM me, and I'll unblock you. You must be blocked. Most foreigners who have been here under UN Convention of 1951 are illegal. The Barcelona Agreement has made a mockery of that. Yeah, quite right. Maureen Smith, that's right. We need to insist on 10 generations before any place of power. 10 generations, Maureen, blimey. You think about it, though, Maureen. You think about it. You go abroad and you start a family abroad. I don't know, you go to Australia, something like that. How does that apply? 10 generations? It's like now the folks that are in the States, for example, that overrode the Native Americans, slaughtered a whole bunch of them. I mean, there's ramifications of this. Anyway, Chris Rumbold says at least 4th generation British born. The British hive mind, hey Dave Wolf, says, how can you be trusted with the British politics when you know nothing of what it is to be British? Yeah, I agree. And the British hive mind also says, yeah, look at the results of letting foreigners into power, which has been pretty disastrous. Helen Lasky-Smith says there's a charter which states that any person of foreign descent, including Muslims then, they can't hold high office, even if they were born here. I understand that that is the case. And I do not understand in that case how this Sajid David, for example, can be being groomed, as apparently he is, for PM. He swears in on the Quran, doesn't he? Carl Stephen, do you know anything about that?
I do know he swore on a lot of councillors who also swear on, also prayers there as well. Do find it strange, I must admit.
Well, how can this guy? I think it is enshrined in British law, actually, is it not? That you can't have Muslims running the country. In fact, I think even involved in politics or even allowed into the country, actually. I mean, it's pretty strict law, no? Can somebody put me right on that?
I know there's a part in the Constitution where it states that people of background shouldn't hold a place of office, but that also a police officer or a constable, a prison guard. So it has quite a lot of ramifications.
Any authority. Well,
any authority. So that law just suddenly, I don't know, just went out the window or something. I don't know. Do we just? Look, I'm not saying the law was necessarily right. Actually, I'm saying that we seem to make it up, or somebody seems to make it up as they go along. Our laws, you know. I mean, what the hell was that FCO 301048 that was hidden for 30 years, talking about how, we're just going to, give away our sovereignty. That's fine. They don't need to know that. This is the same sort of deal, is it not? I'm just saying that, in a civilized society, guess what? When you have changes, you should be aware of them. No, it shouldn't be covered up.
I'll tell you what, Ollie. One thing I've noticed is that people go on about us being a Judeo-Christian nation. As far as I'm concerned, we're a pagan Christian nation.
Yeah.
Through our ancestry, we've been pagan and Christian. So what we should really have is, pagan is virtually sort of not so much the common thing nowadays. It's Christian, but what
Jeff,
office.
You went off there, mate. Jeff, do us a favor, please speak into your microphone. I have to ask you every show.
I am. Okay, I'm right up to my mic now.
Right.
What we should
that is
have,
better. Good man.
Positions of influence and power in this country, there should be several provisos. One, they should be white. They should be Christian. They should be ethnically.
Mate, hold on a sec.
Ethnically British.
Dude, we don't have problems with anybody apart from these, Islamic nutters, basically. Most of them actually keep to themselves anyway, but they don't mix, which is a problem. With any other cultural group, we don't seem to have this problem at all. So why should this apply across the board?
It has to. It has to apply to everybody. It's
checks
a law.
And balances. It's checks and balances, Ollie. Look. There's sensible things you can do. Positions of high office, they have to be at least sort of 40 years old.
The British. Hold on a sec. The British people are not that intolerant.
No, it's not about tolerance, though.
What is it? Well, it is partly because. Do we not? Hold on, Jeff. Okay, let me ask you a question. As British people, not you personally, not me personally, but by and large, Joe Public out in the UK, do they not, by default, want to welcome people? But the problem they have is when people do not respect their hospitality. But they do, by default, want to welcome people, for people to adopt British values, frankly, and to have a cup of tea. And to get on.
Okay, here's what I believe, right? When you live in a small country like ours, all right, we're not a large landmass. We've got limited infrastructure and things like that. We've got a welfare system, Ollie, right?
Yeah.
Now, you've got a welfare system. You can't have crazy open border policies.
No, hold on. That's different. That is a different issue. Go on. Okay, carry on.
It's a different issue, but it's still relevant, right?
It's nothing like as poignant as the argument you were just laying out.
Well, you have to start taking sensible policies into consideration. You can have a welfare state.
How can that be sensible when it would divide the nation in a way that no issue ever has? I honestly think it would. No.
Ollie,
go on, Lynn.
Can you go to Saudi Arabia and become?
No, God no. They're no.
So it's okay for them to keep their heritage, and Israel can a West Indian or Pakistani migrant go and become a member of parliament in Israel?
I doubt it. Not
right,
easily.
So why do you think they do that?
Because they are less tolerant societies than the British society, by and large. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm saying it as I see it. I'm not saying that everybody's like this, but I think that by and large, the British public are. And that has been the problem. The British public have been way too tolerant. And that's why we're in the pickle we're in. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you go from, if you like, one extreme to the other. No?
No.
We're talking about two extremes here, no?
No, you're either gonna cure the problem or you're not. If it's in the Constitution, then it's in the Constitution. If it's the law of the land, then it's the law of the land. And it's subverting the Constitution that has got us in the mess we're in.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Exactly. Absolutely right. There's one thing worse than a standing army bearing down on you, and that's the enemy from within. If you allow a fifth column into your country, they can tear it apart from the inside. It's far more dangerous than the enemy that you know that's attacking you.
So hold on a sec. Who is this fifth column? Is it these Islamist maniacs? Or is it this Bilderberg lot that seem hell-bent on destroying the common man?
Well, I suppose there's several things you could call them. You could call them the deep state.
What's the root cause? What's the root cause? Yeah.
I think there's a lot of Zionism and all this sort of stuff, Talmudic Judaic Zionism, whatever you want to call it.
All roads lead to Rome, you know.
Well, look. Okay, yeah, Joe Blogg says probably Soros. Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran. Our country, Britain is an island, not a country. Britain comprises of three: Scotland, England, Wales. British Ulster, Irish, two. To be sure. I can't read the rest of it. Defend the faith, practice the faith, defend the realm. Common sense, law, and a voice for the children. June Winton, root cause. Zionists and Soros. Making arrangements with the Saudis, and for crying out loud, who's breathing into their mic? Maureen Smith also says not less tolerant. The other countries in Middle East have more sense than us. How many churches in Saudi Arabia? Helen Lasky Smith says, Maureen, I mean about the Home Secretary was sworn on the Quran. Yeah, no, he was. Christopher Mitchell, the 1995 Barcelona Treaty with billions of pounds from Saudi and Qatar. Thing is, we are being played like an orchestra, aren't we? I mean, I'm not saying that we don't have problems, problems of multiculturalism has failed and etc. It's been used cynically. Political correctness has exacerbated the situation, has cowed a nation. It's all that, and that's basically what's happened in Germany off the back of Second World War to compound things, blimey, yeah.
Ollie.
Yes.
Ollie, can I just say
Thomas Whitelock, God bless you. How are you, mate?
I'm not too bad, actually.
You messaged me earlier quite a concerning message saying that a lot of your friends are being basically held for questioning. What's the deal with that?
There's 6 of them been taken in late last night, early hours this morning.
What are they doing to drum up interest from the UK police?
Well, they're not on social media or nothing like that.
They're not even on social media. So what are they doing then?
No.
What's going on?
I don't know whether they had their phones tapped or what, but the 6 of them all got rounded up more or less the same time by armed police. They weren't just ordinary coppers, they were armed police. Took them in for questioning.
Were they rounded up from separate places or the same place?
Yeah. Different places, different parts of the country.
And what was the reason given?
Well, they said under the Terrorist Act, like they did with that speaker that Tommy was trying to get into the country.
Right.
It's just a way of just getting them off the street, I think. But what I was going to say was, when Muslims first started coming into the country and they started they come here in peace, I'm clicking me two fingers up, come in peace, and they start saying they're getting harassed by people, and people are saying to them, you know, that we're racist against them and all that. And a lot of them cannot speak English, even though they can. We need community leaders. So all these councils where these Muslim areas are say, yeah, okay, we'll pick your leaders. So they get the leaders, and then they vote, and then they end up getting into Parliament because they've been leaders for a couple of years, and then they get into Parliament and be voted in for MPs. And what their aim is to get into power, and then once they get into power, they implement Sharia law, and that will be like the end of England, basically.
Yeah. I have to say, I've seen, just an aside, before you carry on, I've seen a video, folks in the room, something like that, and he was talking about precisely this, and he was saying how, yeah, you know what, we're doing really well to basically, he said, I can see that we will have a Muslim prime minister in the UK within about 10 years. That's what he said. That's what he said.
He will, yeah.
And bearing in mind that even the shower that's in power at the moment, people like Theresa May, dubbed Sharia May when she was Home Secretary for good reason, because she turned a blind eye to Sharia councils throughout the realm and continues to do so as Prime Minister, which is absolutely disgusting, is it not? Considering these councils are all bloody misogynist for a start. It's just an absolute joke for anybody who's got a liberal heart, for God's sake. Sorry. Anyway, carry on, Thomas, because I think there's a lot of merit for what you just said.
That's why a lot of new labels have come out. These labels that we're getting now for all sorts of things, for being gay, for being homosexual, or for being whatever. All these labels have all come in the past 4 years. People have gone along with whether they've been gay, lesbian, or whatever they are for years and years and years. There may have been a bit of trouble about them 20 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, but people's got used to the idea that, you know, there's gays in the world and there's lesbians in the world, and, you know, everyone should just get on with their lives. But now they're making it a law, and you can see even the police are wearing high heels and putting makeup on and dancing with them and all that.
Yeah, that's right. I saw a video exactly that the other day. This cop, instead of doing something useful, he was dressed up like a tranny, prancing down some street, trying to kiss anybody. And guess what? Yeah. Some people were like, I don't want you to kiss me. What the bloody hell do you think you're doing? Unbelievable. What are we paying these people to do? Oh my God, they don't even go into no-go zones. I'm not surprised dressed like that. Jesus.
It's all part of the plan to change the way the people in Britain think. And the sad thing is, these police they're doing their job, and they're well outnumbered, and they get under loads of pressure, and that's why on Tommy Robinson's march, when they stormed, because I don't know whether you noticed the cop that tapped his head, that's to say take people out, and that's why they rushed in, but the crowd pushed them back. They want to cause trouble because they want people like us who are genuinely just wanting to get what we voted for, to leave the EU. Yeah. We're not far right. We're not racist. We just want, we voted 2 years ago to leave the EU, and we're still in it, and we're not going to leave.
We never voted to get into it in the first place.
No, that's why people are voting to get out. And that's
nobody voted for what the EEC has become. Nobody. Sorry, carry on, Thomas.
But yeah, because they don't want us to leave the EU, they want us to kick off. They want to cause trouble. And then the next thing is it'll be under martial law, where you've got to be in by 9 o'clock and you can't go into city centres and all this crap. That's what they'll be implementing next. You'll be stuck to your own city or your own town. And if you're driving down a motorway, you'll be pulled over. Where are you going? you know, your vehicle's registered for Liverpool or your vehicle's registered in London. But where are you going? Why are you going out of the area? That's what will come next. This is how they work. They want to suppress the people. They want to keep us down. And until we get out the EU, they're going to succeed. And if this march on Saturday doesn't bring any results, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now, if the country do not come to a standstill, you might as well look to see if you can emigrate somewhere else, because that's what's going to... Our country in 5 years' time will be exactly like Syria. And I mean exactly like Syria. Because in 5 years' time, it'll be a nap that there'll be a Muslim PM in power. And within 6 months of him being in power, Sharia law will be implemented, and that'll be the end of the country.
Okay, Thomas, I'm going to extend this show just a few minutes past the top of the hour tonight, and I want to ask you, particularly, sir, about what you expect on Saturday. I just want to read a couple of stories that I just a sec, Tom, just a sec, mate. I want to read a couple of stories just to give people an idea of the way a couple of other rags are reporting on what happened this afternoon, which is very, very important, people. Very important. I agree, it's all a bloody charade. I don't see Brexit at all. But on the other hand, I have to say that this afternoon, actually, for once, seems to have gone in the direction of Brexiteers, slightly anyway. So, look, this is the not so independent. Never mind that lot. This is the not so independent Brexit. Theresa May avoids major defeat as MPs reject vote to give Parliament more power in event of no deal. A sustained whipping operation and last-minute olive branch from David Davis allowed Ms May to clear a major hurdle. So basically, this amendment that former Attorney General Dominic Grieve, MP for Beaconsfield, who should be deselected, put forward, basically saying that they wanted to stop any no-deal scenario, that the Parliament would have the final say, would be able to say whether or not to go with the government's deal, has been... it went back to the Lords, didn't it? They said, we want it looked at again. It's come back to the Commons today, and the Commons have voted, I think, 316 or 319 to 306 to basically throw that out. Which is, but, apparently, let me see if I can see the Independent's take on this. Here we go. Yeah, apparently David Davis has given the final say on whether or not Parliament would be able to debate the deal to John Bercow, the Speaker of the... I suppose it would be whoever the Speaker of the House is at the time, which is probably going to be John Bercow, because he never seems to bloody resign off the back of being all this and the other. Anyway, look, let me see if I can find this story again on... here we go. Okay, yeah. But MPs were left... Here we go. Where is this? This is very important. Very important. This is what's happened, and it will not be discussed properly on the news tonight. The compromise that's been given by this government, according to David Davis. Where is it? Hold on. The Brexit Secretary confirmed that Mr. Bercow would be given the final say over whether MPs can have a vote. That's according to the Express. What do you think of that, Thomas?
Well, I think they're just playing for time, to be totally honest with you. But on Saturday, what my feelings are, people will be at the rest of the train stations. And when the crowd gather, what's going to happen is they're going to... If anyone's going, if you like a drink, I like a drink, the same as anybody, save the drinking until after. Because the police will be looking for any excuse, whether they only arrest one person or two people. If they try and take someone out of a crowd, they know for a fact there'll be trouble. And that's what they're open. They're open for trouble. The best thing to do is go there peacefully, have nothing to drink until after the event. And if the police raid run in like they did on the march the other week, the best thing to do, or they raise their batons or anything like that, that's all intimidation. That's all to get people edged on and start doing a slagging match. The thing to do is to turn your back on them. That is telling them that you have no respect whatsoever for them. And then they will get intimidated. And if they strike anybody while their back is turned, it'll be the police that will get the bad name and not the public. And it's hard for people to do it, but you've got to do it. You've got to try and keep yourself to yourself.
Olly.
And just let them do whatever they've got to do. But if they charge you or feet to come or anything like that, is just turn your back on them. Don't slag them off, because the press will cut and paste bits of videos and make it look as if we're right wing and we're against everybody except for leaving the EU.
Jeff.
Olly, I've got two questions, all right? With regard to all this bloody subversion that's going on within our country, all right, from the inside, from the enemy within, right? And those questions are the following. One, where the hell is our bloody army? We're supposed to have checks and balances in this country, and our army is supposed to defend us against enemies, foreign and domestic. And in this case, it can be a mixture of both. All right. The second question is, why the hell is our bloody Queen not dissolving government and standing up for our constitution and so forth? Because we got a head of state that we pay an awful amount of money that's supposed to bloody protect us. She's got the power to dissolve government, as far as I'm aware. You know, why are these things not happening? Why is it left to the people to be able to have to deal with this? It shouldn't be down to us to have to deal with this. We should have people defending our country. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the army has bloody failed. The Queen's bloody failed. We've been let down totally. Now, are they all in on it, or are they just totally inept? That's what I want to know.
Well, the Queen has basically been dissolved since 2011. She's only Queen by name, and all she does, it's just there for tourism. That's all she's there. That's all the royal family there for tourism, to bring people into the country.
But that's unconstitutional, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's unlawful.
Yeah, it says unlawful. Tony Blair, when he done the thing for Iraq, he changed laws, and the House of Commons, all the MPs all backed him up. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't stand. It doesn't matter what. They can't change the constitution. They can't. They may have done it, but it doesn't mean it.
Yeah, I understand that. Then yeah, I know that. But what I'm saying, they've done that, and the people who, like the likes of the police, they believe that it's law what they're saying, and that's why the police are as bad. That's why they changed, and they changed the police. The police. It used to be police services. They changed it to police force. A police force.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. Police constable to a police force. So the police think they've got more rights now than what they had when they were police constable, which the way it's working, they have, because they can just come and take people off the streets for nothing at all, just for the next use. You know, you were looking at me funny, or I suspect you've got drugs. We'll have to take you back to the station to search you. It's just a load of shit, just to get people off the streets.
Well, I have to say, I do not want a Muslim minister in this country, and that is not a racist statement. That is just for common sense reasons, right? And if we do ever manage to get our bloody country back, we need to put serious checks and balances in place so that this shit does not happen again.
Of course we do. Of course we do. And until we do, the first thing we've got to do is get out the EU, because our government is under the thumb of the EU. The rulers of Brussels are pressing down on our government, and that's why our government's dragging this out. And David Cameron, when he made that speech, he probably made that speech, honestly, when he said, it's down to the people to vote. If we vote to leave, we will leave. And it has nothing to do with MPs or any more Parliament or the Lords or anything like that. The very next day, he didn't want to leave. He was forced to leave because he made that statement, because they did not want us to leave. Every country that tried to leave the EU has had another vote, and the vote's been changed. Southern Ireland, France, Greece. They've all had their votes transferred to staying in the EU.
That's right. Yeah.
And that will happen here if they make.
And that's what's going to happen.
Something similar happened
Yeah.
with Cyprus over that template. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys,
We can't trust them.
No, not at all.
Margaret Thatcher was removed because she started to go towards leaving Europe and started to say to people, "This is wrong," and within 6 months they had her removed.
That's right, Carl. That was
her
Bruges speech, wasn't it?
If we allow them to hold another referendum, that's it. Forget it. Because it doesn't matter
it'll
what
be fixed. It'll be
it
fixed.
doesn't matter it will be fixed. Is 100% guaranteed that they now know the measure of us.
Yeah,
they
that's
know
exactly
how
what it is.
much they have to change. They tried it because I know for a fact during the referendum, prior to the referendum, I've got about somewhere on my old laptop about 80 different polls that were done all over the north. They had like buckets with different coloured ping pong balls in Remain and Leave. And I'm telling you now that the least that any of them were, this is everywhere apart from London, was about 72% to Leave. That's the least. And they went up 72, 75, 85%. And I'm telling you, my heart tells me that the 75% of this nation voted to leave. But they fixed it.
Yeah, they fixed it. Yeah, they fixed it. They pinched most of the votes, knowing that they were all for leave. And the votes went missing. They just disappeared.
But they didn't pinch enough. But next time, they know how many of us will be out voting, and they know how many to pinch. It doesn't matter how you vote. If you consent to another referendum, you forget it. I'm telling you now, I am not going to vote again because there's no point. No. If they hold another referendum, I will not be voting because I already know the outcome.
Well, it seems clear to me that we're still using bloody pencils when we should be using black ink or something on our electoral slips, ballot papers, whatever you want to call them. And not only that, is the postal voting system and the proxy voting systems all been corrupted, I think. So we need to go back to just standard voting, but with pens. So that it can't be.
But they won't, because they won't do that because they like it the way it is because it allows them to rig it.
Exactly.
It's all set up so they've got control of it. So voting, in my mind, is not an option. I know everyone says, "Oh, you've got to vote. You must vote. We've got to vote them out." Brilliant. Look what happened the other day when was it Lewisham?
Mm-hmm.
Labour didn't even go to the hustings, and they won.
Yeah, the voting system needs to be changed if we're going to be voting because it's rigged for two
I know, but until we get rid of the existing system, we can't change it.
Yeah, no.
Nothing's going to change until we change it. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but I honestly don't think politics or voting is the answer. I'm very, very sorry to tell you that, but I hope you don't all wake up to that fact when it's far too late.
No, I agree, Lynn. I concur.
Because
so true,
that is the way it's going. Right, and whether you like it or not, vote for UKIP. No, they will not allow UKIP to win anything. They control the system. I'm not quite sure what part of that people don't understand. It doesn't matter who you vote for, they control the system. And we are talking about people with an awful lot of power here.
Well, it needs complete and utter reform. We need proportional representation.
If we wait until then, it'll be too late.
I think the only way they're going to change is if the country goes on strike.
That's it. That's the only option.
That's the only option we've got is if the country go on strike. If we don't go on strike,
we've got to all go home and stay there. Apart from ambulance and fire services and doctors, just go home. Go stock your fridge up with a month's supply of food. And just everybody fucking go home. Don't pay your bills.
Lynn.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right, darling. You never do that. You surprise me. You're such a good girl. Carry on.
I know. Just like let's plan for a huge national strike and just look after each other and help each other and just go home and stay at home.
Not just a national strike, a complete blockade of central London. Continuously. ongoing.
Until people do that, nothing is going to change. And every single day we don't do anything, they are putting in more laws. They're tying us deeper into the EU behind our backs. They get all this rubbish about all these negotiations. That's just smoke and mirrors. That's just that's just to pacify us and string us along like silly little puppets. All the deals are being done in the background anyway. We're being stitched up, and every day we leave it, we are more stitched up. Every day we leave it, it's going to be harder and harder to unstitch.
Lynn,
that's why they have MPs.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Olly.
Hold on. I'm actually teasing here. Yeah. Would you like to carry on, guys? Would you like to carry on? I think you should.
And do for a bit.
Would you? I mean,
I'll have to go in a couple of minutes anyway, because I've got to go and pick my granddaughter up.
Yeah, I've got to go. Well, Ollie.
Really? Oh, you got to go anyway. Oh, look, I was going to carry on, but I mean, I've got to go for my dinner. But you guys, you could carry on if you want. But Carl?
Well, just drop us in the green room if you want, and then we don't have to listen to Lynn swearing all the time.
Carl.
Do you want to look? You've got 10 seconds to make up your minds. Do you want to carry on or not? But if so,
keep going.
I've got to go, guys, and I'll probably see you tomorrow. But
yeah,
because I can't let my granddaughter down because she's stuck in the middle of nowhere.
We got downliner. He hasn't said much either. John, what are you? Go on.
Good luck to everyone on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Will you pop in tomorrow, Thomas? I want to ask you. I want to talk to you a little bit more about the security aspects. Yeah. Can you pop in tomorrow, please?
Yeah, not a problem at all.
Good man. 7 o'clock tomorrow, folks. Regular place.
Good night, folks.
Thank you, everybody. Thomas. God bless you. I'll tell you what. But okay, yeah. Look, they could have carried on. They didn't.
You still could carry on.
I feel down. It's only you that wants to now.
Lynn wants to keep going, don't you, Lynn?
Lynn, do you want to carry on?
I don't mind. I'll talk to anybody.
Oh, for crying out loud. Right, okay, look, I'll leave these two. Because I know that they're both pretty sensible and all that. And yeah, good. So I'm going, but you can stay. I'll see you tomorrow at 7. God bless you. Yeah, tomorrow at 7. And I will not cut the stream. But I will go and have me dinner. Keep the wife happy. And I'll see you on Saturday. Yeah, I'll see you on Saturday.
Netflix.
We've got to fight. We've got to fight back against these guys. We've got to ignore them and just because if we kowtow, they just bring more and more.
Right. Okay, mind your P's and Q's, people. I'm off. God bless you.
Okay. Sorry.
No libel. No libel. For God. Hey, no libel.
More in.
See, the problem is, though, we're different. I mean, other people, they go to work, they work 9 to 5, they look after the kids, the house, and then they turn on the TV for the 6 o'clock news.
I just can't see how people can't see it.
Well, they're accepting it really quickly, aren't they? And they're also jumping to the fiddler's tune. So many times I've said something and you can't say that. Well, why not? Is that male? If one of the work colleagues and the female said it, it's all right. A joke. What happened to the British sense of humour and,
I heard Netflix brought it. It's come. I don't know. It's just happens so fast.
I know, and I tell you, it's the writing is on the table, and it is just going to get worse. You're
saying that the employees can't look at each other for more than 5 seconds.
Pardon?
As a way to fight. Since till 2 o'clock in the morning last night.
And he won't talk.
He won't talk. Come on, talk, Jouster. Come on, take your thing off mute.
Jouster, come on.
Really looking forward to meeting some of you folks on Saturday, and what have you. Yeah. So there you go. All right.
Thank you,
Olly.
folks. I'm here.
Jouster's here, but I've been trying to convince this guy to chat, but he won't.
That's fair play.
That's them done. They probably don't actually see what's going on. They don't get enough information to know.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
We were all like that at one point.
Who's here?
Well, for God's sake, yeah, no libel.
Libel Well, everything's classed as libel today, isn't it?
Hold on, he's on server mute. There you go. He can talk now. There's no excuse now, Jaster.
Ah.
Go on, Jaster.
Thank you. Prime. Homophobic. Don't breathe.
Gender pronouns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't see how people can't see it.
Well, they're accepting it really quickly, aren't they? And they're also jumping to the fiddler's tune. So many times I've said something and you can't say that. Well, why not? Is that male? If one of the work colleagues and the female said it, it's all right. A joke. What happened to the British sense of humour and,
I heard
satire?
I heard Netflix brought it's come. I don't know. It's just so happens so fast.
I know, and I tell you, it's the writing is on the table, and it is just going to get worse.
You're saying that the employees can't look at each other for more than 5 seconds.
Pardon?
As a way to fight. Everything seemed like everything's perfect. Everything's running smoothly. But now, every time you open a newspaper, every single headline is a bad one.
And it's like 2-day-old news as well, because by the time you got it through on your phone, the fast media, the way it is today, when you read something in a paper, it'll be slightly more in depth if you read the Times or something like that. Better written. But it's like 2 days old news. People
don't read, though. They don't research. I mean, that's why they put that thing on Facebook now, TLDR. We never had that 5 years ago, did we? Too long, didn't read.
Yeah, I've got a new phone, and there's something where it comes up the phone saying daily events, and I put in news feeds, and it's like surely if I wanted that, I'd have subscribed to it. So I don't know why it's there.
I've got something on my phone called Flipbook, just magically appeared.
Yeah, it's like, well, why are they giving you this media when you've not asked for it? It's the first one free.
And what's funny about Flipbook is it's got a news story that's 2 months old, but it's on the top news every day. Just trying to find what it is. It's not something good anyway.
But you've also got
invoices in the post, Carl.
We've got 2 younger generations below us, and they've been used to going through school in which we weren't used to. So they're used to saying yes and no. They're also in school up to university a lot longer, and there's a lot more in the system for a lot longer. So they're not going to work at 15 and 16 after leaving school. They've been doing the market 11, 12, 13 in the vans before school. Not even allowed to have a paper out until they're 16, isn't it? So they don't even know what the real world's like when they're 18 or 21 when they finish uni.
That's it. Yeah, my daughter wants to get a job in McDonald's, but they don't let people in until 16. But in America, it's 14. So she has to wait till she's 16. Even though she's like she wants to pay, she wants to work for herself and make some money. She can't do it.
They don't want them becoming self-sufficient, do they? They want everyone to be dependent, so they're teaching them to be dependent.
I don't think it's dependency what they're giving them. It's like them being submissive to it. Now, maybe being dependent on them makes them more submissive. So they're actually going to do as they're told. Because we were told to be free thinkers at school, weren't we? How to hold yourself, how to have a debate and argue with yourselves sensibly, and given proper life skills as well.
And now it's just
LGBT and whatever else to children in school, colours, ethnic origin. A child wouldn't recognise that. It's only taught that. They don't actually recognise the actual races. It's only when they've been taught and they start being projected to what they are being taught is how they perceive it. If they weren't taught it in the first place, there wouldn't be any racism.
Yeah, exactly, because they wouldn't even know what it is.
No, they just go on working together. So it's only what the institutions are giving them as a media to or their education, which is giving perception in the first place.
The news in school where they're getting rid of mobile phones and switching off Wi-Fi. I don't think that's actually for a child's benefit. I mean, because at the same time, when has the government actually done anything that benefits a child? I think it's done, but I think it's done because they're not paying attention in school and they're not actually getting into their indoctrination. They're messing with the phones. They're getting more information through the phone than they are from school.
The teachers
They can
have
fact
that.
check. They can Google everything the teacher said and said, you're a liar. That's not true.
Exactly.
The teachers have that much work to do, paper-wise, with assessments and everything else. You can't do what our teachers did for us, to actually give you more time and guidance. They've got to do everything by the book, and they've got to write a report about everything.
They've done to the education system what they've done to the police, because the police are like bogged down with paperwork. Half of their jobs dedicated to paperwork.
They're actually suggesting they're going to bring somebody else in with the teacher, with the teaching, so the teacher can actually do the paperwork.
Like an assistant.
Yeah, but the assistant will be holding class, and that means the teacher then can sit down and just do all the paperwork. So work that out.
That's really going to be cost effective, isn't it?
Government. There's too much government. They're meant to do what we tell them, not control us, and they control us.
What was government's original aim? I think it was to protect us, wasn't it?
Yeah, to manage things and look after things and make sure we're all right.
Yeah, not to fit us into every single aspect of life and regulate everything that we do.
What we can and can't do. No, but we've allowed it.
That's because everyone came across. Oh, they always tell you politics is boring. Yeah, and people listen. So, no, I don't get that. Politics is boring.
I've always been into politics from being very little.
Oh, I don't believe that for 1 minute.
Politics is actually interesting. That's the difference. So if you stop listening to it being boring and actually just pay some attention, you might actually find it's better than a soap opera.
I found it quite odd that other kids at 11 didn't have an opinion. They didn't know what I was talking about.
My kids are different. They actually took to it straight away. I mean, my eldest, he knows exactly what this world's about, and he doesn't buy into it. But if my little one, girl, she always like, oh yeah, John, the world's going to end, is it? And,
oh, bless her.
It's like the one who won't listen. Let me want.
We're doomed.
We're doomed, John. You say this every day. That's the problem, though. You end up being dead, seeming dead negative when you're awake.
Well,
I wonder why.
We've got to keep laughing, you see. We've got to see the humorous side of it to get through it.
I watched an interview today where a guy from InfoWars went to London to ask the people in London why the crime rate was up. And most of the sheep didn't know. They didn't know. They just kind of, I don't care. I'm sure the police will sort it out for us. And then one guy looked like he was intelligent. He said, I despise InfoWars. I said, why? He said, because Alex Jones. I said, what about Alex Jones? And he says, the first thing comes out of his mouth, gay frogs. That's to me. It's the same when you say David Icke, reptilian queen. They haven't actually listened to anything they've said. They've just gone off what
David Wolf, the queen eats babies.
Exactly. They're just going off what people have told them about. They've not actually watched it themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
I don't know.
It's like listening to a critic for a movie.
The few of us could carry the rest through. The whole country's not gonna
get anywhere.
I know, but the really sad thing is they're working to keep the house, the car, the holiday, the big, huge TV screen, and everything that they love and like about their life. But what they don't realise is it's all going to go.
It's just like the fact that you don't own your house. You don't own your house. You don't own your... Look at the thing. Yeah. It doesn't say you own it. It says you're a keeper.
Yep.
People don't realise that. They think, oh, I've just paid my mortgage off. I own the house. No, you don't actually. And it's the same with the car. You don't own the car. You might have paid all the money for it, but you don't own it.
As soon as you get the car registered, you're actually signing the car over to the government, and the same with the house already. So it's the same thing. You actually own the deed. So you actually own paperwork, the rights to be there of the house, the car. When you actually buy a car, and it's a brand new car, and you haven't E5 yet, then you actually do own the car. It's just you're not allowed to drive it on the road until you surrender your car to the government.
So it's pretty useless, isn't it? Unless you want to sit it on your driveway and just
they give you
my car.
That's right, because the police can also take your car off you taxed or insured or crush it as well, can't they? But it actually belongs to the state, the corporation of a state you sign it to, EVLA.
Just like your kids. Just like your kids when you sign a birth certificate.
It's going to a bit of a black hole here.
Oh, it's going into the fact that you don't own anything. Every material thing that you gain is not yours.
Who's got a nice clean joke? I haven't. I'm hopeless with jokes. I always forget the punchline.
I went to the fair. I won 2 goldfish. I took them back home and put them in the bowl. I thought, I'm going to name them. So I named them number 1 and number 2. Because if number 1 dies, I've still got 2. That's my last one.
Right, okay.
It was definitely clean, that one, anyway. We'll give you that.
Ah, no, I had to think.
So I want to talk about the Nikki Haley and Donald Trump withdrawing from the UN.
Fantastic news.
It's not that great, though, is it? Because Nikki Haley, they gave the reason because they're bullying Israel, because everyone else is bullying Israel. Doesn't that mean they're kind of away from the old rule book now?
I don't know. The UN's not a good place.
Because the UN is owned by the America, and it was given by Rockefeller family to the US government.
Yeah, well, the Rockefeller, they're all part of the cabal, aren't they? They're just the same as the Rothschilds that own...
Exactly. So if it's American, there's Rockefellers on the American side, and America leaves the UN, then Rockefellers still own it, don't they? And that's the complicated part, because it means... And also, what even worries me even more, Trump, about his space program that he's talking about getting into space. Yeah.
I've missed that. Is he buying himself a rocket? Is he becoming Rocket Man?
Well, when I heard that, I hoped that all the rich people are getting into a rocket and pissing off, somewhere. But
I saw something like he was trying to make something like the Death Star put across like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Russia's objected to it because
to actually take supplies to and work from there. But it's
that's
just
ridiculous.
They want to land on the moon, don't they? They
Star
want
Wars over again, isn't it? The movie, because that's how Darth Vader did it. They made it like a supply base and realised it wasn't.
Exactly. He wants to claim the moon, doesn't he? He wants to claim the moon because America owns it.
Yeah, well, we never even went to the moon, so that's another story. So.
Yeah, well, that's what doesn't make sense. If that's true, then that doesn't make sense at all. The whole reason that he's going to space in the first place.
Well, no, yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. I truly don't believe, having looked at it, that we were. They're going to have the allegedly going to have the fake alien invasion yet to come, aren't we? So they're going to perpetuate all this to facilitate it.
Well, yeah,
I believe the moon landing was fake.
Well, Russia has objected to the move, obviously, but they're doing it because they believe US is trying to get nuclear weapons into space.
Yeah, but
they need space now. They've got to build something to actually start that up.
Yeah.
So someone come down and say, "Oh no, you've been fighting for too long. You want to get together and build a single world government."
They're setting the stage.
How long is it going to take, though? That's what I want to know. I mean, it's all supposed to happen
I'm
before.
I'm getting quite bored now.
It's all supposed to happen before 2030, That's when the sustainability program ends. So.
Yes. So. Yeah.
What's worse, though, knowing you can't do nothing about it, or not knowing and living in blissful ignorance?
No, my son asked me today. So, if you could go back, would you forget, or would you prefer not to know? And I said, well, no, not really.
It's in your character, isn't it? So inquisitive as a person, so that's why you go out and seek to look. If you don't go and seek to look, you'll be like the other 60% of people who don't have the right to. You choose not to, because it's like where Birmingham, Manchester, main financial belt of the country, voted to remain. It's almost out of arrogant structure, because people within the city are more affluent generally. They don't have problems like people outside from the cities. So as long as they've got their comfortable world and their bank £1 or more, they think that's absolutely great. They look at rose-tinted glasses, aren't they? So they won't want to change that, because they've taken the treat off the devil, haven't they? have all this. How wonderful it is.
You know what I think we should do? I think we should follow the Mormon route and just act really happy about it, as if we've been enlightened, and everyone will want to join them.
We can be happy. We can be the happy clappy group.
Yeah, they're optimistic, like we know what's going on, we know how to stop it and that kind of thing, instead of always doomsday talking.
You're
I
right.
don't like the fashion.
Yeah.
I don't like the fashion wear though. I have to get them to change the clothes for June.
Yeah, we don't need to wear the same clothes.
we've all got to grow our hair long, put beads in your hair, and long caftans and stuff like from the 60s. And start smoking joints. That's them. Yeah.
What we need to do is convince them, or convince the sheep, that the elite are a sinking ship, and we know how to get rid of them. So, like, yeah, we know how to do it. Yeah. We've got loads of people behind it. You know, you might as well get off the ship before it sinks and come join us.
Well, that's the problem, though, isn't it? Because the elite and where it all leads to, 50 people who own the most of 99% of what that they're always going to be there. They're not actually failing. What they're failing at is running their ideology and treating us like guinea pigs, trying to change it into what they think's best. And because they've changed everything into corporations, and the corporations are now actually running the country, they're actually having MPs on their side. They should ban all that. An MP should have only one job. And it's simple as that. They shouldn't be signed up to corporations to be put in the place of blackmail.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I did say that. I said that if you work in government, if you're in the civil service, you shouldn't have private interests, because that
the other
breaks the
one is
impartiality.
You shouldn't be allowed to be an MP if you've not had or run a business for more than 5 years. So you actually know the person has been successful to a point of running a business for 5 years, whether it
understands hardship.
But yes, they've actually lived in the real world. But if you actually make it so they have no other job, and also that they can't vote themselves, then you're not getting them all in a voting for each other, or I'm voting myself. You lose the right to vote as soon as you want to stand to be P.
And that's the problem right now.
And the councillor.
The Prime Minister's got the husband who's a trillionaire and loads of private interest.
Well, I wonder how many people wouldn't stand for councillor when we come out of the because the councillor used to be a job you did because you loved the place you lived and you wanted to contribute to your society, what you lived in. You did it for free, and they normally were business people, business-minded people who spared a bit of extra time to be able to do the councillor's job. They didn't get paid. It's only when we joined the EU and got signed into it by Mr. Bloody Bear that the councillors started being on the payroll of the EU, basically, through the British taxpayers' money. So I'd like that reverted back as well. So what you'd find is a lot of MPs.
Hello.
Hello, Lynn. All right, Carl. Yeah, I was going to say, are we still going out live?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Oh, we are. Blimey.
No swearing, Lynn.
I know. I'm so sorry. Carl, you know I don't swear.
That was fun.
I know you don't swear. I spoke to you for hours and hours that time. Yeah, you know. But you know, you can get to that point where you think, "Oh, what's the bloody point?" And
I know.
Just like the voting thing, what's the fucking point? When
I'm not voting anymore because I'm not. I want to know that we're governed by consent. So.
I did have this discussion with them actually. They said if you just stop voting them once, and they said, well, the people who want to get in will vote for themselves. Like the entire Parliament the Tories will vote for themselves.
That's a good question, Lynn. Are we governed by consent? Are we forced to pay tax? That's another good question. Or is it voluntary?
If you know the law, it's voluntary. If you know the law, it's voluntary. If you don't, then you're forced because you don't know that you don't have to. Yeah, it's common law, isn't it? You don't have to pay tax. It's not even like in America, the IRS, the tax office. There's nothing in the IRS or the Constitution that says you have to pay tax. And even the IRS admitted that it's a voluntary tax.
I'm on. Finally.
Oh, it took you an hour.
So I was removing the washing machine, sorry.
The washing machine?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm glad you didn't have it on spin.
No,
It would have been quite annoying.
Trying to get the feed hose and the waste pipe behind the washing machine against the wall. It's driving me insane.
Need small bendy hands, don't you?
Yeah.
Right, are we governed by consent, Jouster?
Are you a serf?
Personally, no, I never have been.
That's the argument.
I've always been a bit odd.
Are we serfs?
We're plebs, actually. That's what we are.
Well,
we're Goyim, we're Gentiles.
Do you believe in the... Who's a royalist here? Put your hand up.
You won't be able to see if we put our hands up.
It's metaphorical.
No, I'm not. No, not royalist.
I was.
Yeah, so you learn the truth about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel utterly let down by the royal family. I feel utterly let down by our army. I feel utterly let down by the police. None of them have done what they're, supposed to do. None of them have.
And the government.
And state and everything, councils and child supports.
So the councils are worse than the government. They're more evil and corrupt.
Yeah,
beyond belief.
Infiltrated by common purpose.
I wonder why they call them councils, eh? I wonder why they call Freemasons the council.
Lynn, can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
Are you the same lady that was in the UKIP?
No.
No. Oh, sorry,
No.
I'm thinking of someone else, aren't I?
No.
But you weren't in a political party?
No, never.
No, okay. That's
Lynn generally doesn't vote, so I'll be very surprised if she was in any party.
The only party she'll be in is when we leave the EU.
Yeah, a big party.
The June 23rd party.
The only reason I don't vote is because I cannot put my hand on my heart and morally support any of them, because I believe they are all evil, lying toe rags. So I'm not going to give any of them my support because they're not honest, decent, honourable people.
That's what that's how I feel, Lynn. I think they're a complete shower of beep.
They're all there. They're all there for the wrong reasons. They're not there for.
It's all false. They're not decent people, so.
I'm getting you mixed up with Caroline, aren't I? That's what.
You are. Stevens.
Yes,
Caroline Stevens.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. I thought. Yeah.
But it said Lynn Scott on her.
No, I know. Funny.
We have spoken before, haven't we, Jessica? Little duck. Yeah. So I can't. It's like asking me to tell a lie voting at the moment.
It's like trying to sell double glazing.
Dishonourable and corrupt, and to do so because they're just not nice people.
I'm the same, Lynn. I'm not on the electoral register, but I'll tell you what. I believe that they haven't got even a mandate to govern, because apparently the vast majority of people in this country aren't even on the electoral register. So what does that tell you? Have they actually got a mandate to govern? I don't believe they have.
Well, Tories got another 36% in the last time. Was that? No, that was 2000. That was when they actually got the majority. It's only 30%, not 36%.
I think the problem is there's no accountability. After you've voted and they've gone in, that's it. Game over. They can do what they want.
They should be able to be peacefully disposed of if they've fallen out of favour with the electorate. In other words, there should be some sort of system whereby they can be thrown out and a snap election called if there's a big vote of no confidence. Maybe we should have something like that in place with. No,
but they like snap elections, don't they?
Oh yeah, they love them.
They like them, yeah, because they can just reset.
The only way that we can have a snap election now, the Queen. I read something the other day because there was a debate about whether the Queen was sovereign or had power or not. So I was looking through loads of acts and stuff, and there's I put it actually. Carry on chatting. I'll find it. It's still on my laptop, I think.
How many Tory MPs have resigned in the last 6 months? Does that make them a minority again? Because they only needed 10, didn't they, to get a majority?
They're only just scraping the votes through, aren't they, in Parliament? It's like a handful of 20 votes, which it could swing the other way around. It's scary close, isn't it?
So, but the more they drop, worse the situation becomes. Infighting, it's all infighting, power grabbing, and it's causing the place things to fall apart.
We are repeating history in this conversation room. We are technically
We
the
are.
redhead arguing against Cavaliers' point of view. Would that be an agreement there or not?
Yeah, okay. The Fixed Term Parliament Act of 2011. Let me bring it up.
Yeah, they made it 5 years.
It's funny how these acts all seem to pop up after 2010. All the ones that have benefits.
It used to be 4 years, but David Cameron brought in the 5-year term, didn't he?
Well, it was within this act, as far as I could gather, but I haven't, because I've not been too well for the last week. As far as I could gather, within this act, it removed the power from the Queen to close Parliament.
So she's got no power now, has she?
Well, she has, you see, because these acts and things aren't really lawful, are they?
What legislation?
Yeah, it's these are unconstitutional. Therefore, they do not stand in the legality of the laws of the country.
What's this?
What about the power to dissolve Parliament?
That's what this was about. I need to look at it properly.
It's the ECJ, the European courts, which will allege what.
Apparently, she stopped opening Parliament as well, hasn't she?
I don't know. She's not done much, has she?
Our Parliament's not recognised as a Parliament, a region. And we also have a constitution. Actually, have a federal law of it. It's so they don't. The ECG and guys are right as being an English citizen, as so they don't recognise the constitution. If you're going to go to court to fight it out, they're the courts you'd be going to fight it out in. Because you'd find if you fought it here in the British court, even sided with you and said you were right, you were still in the EU, you were right to the EU courts, and then you were right our courts.
So it's all got to be done in the European Court of Justice then?
Yeah, because even if the judges here rule with it, the courts, European courts, our courts here. So you only be able to do something like this after you leave the ECG court system.
Right, this was written on October the 9th, 2008, 16, not 18, I beg you. And it says, repealing the Fixed Term Parliament Act. Some commentators, as I have previously noted, still appear to be unaware of the Fixed Term Parliaments Act and think that the Prime Minister can still call a snap election. It is no longer in the gift, whatever that is.
It's having the right to.
Yeah. It is no longer in the gift of the Prime Minister to ask the Queen for dissolution of Parliament. The Queen has now no prerogative power of dissolution. If the Prime Minister wants an early election, they have to go to the House of Commons, and with a 2/3 majority, one can be called. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is this act, this Fixed Term Parliament Act, where they've removed they've removed the Queen's powers. The fact is, these acts don't stand in English law. They're unconstitutional. They're not. They might be written, but it doesn't mean.
This is where you come back to the problem, because the ECJ, European Court, not recognise that. They'll recognise what's been written as a new statutory. It's making Britain more federal, because we don't have a federal constitution written down in black and white in one document. Courts won't recognise it. That's why we have to implement all the legislation and laws what Europe gives us. Because Germany and France are a federal, and they recognise their constitution as being federal, they can choose which law they bring and which they don't.
Right.
So effectively, we're still under EU law, EU courts.
And we aren't actually a country. We're not actually a country. We're a region
England
of Europe.
don't have a parliament.
We're a state, aren't we?
Well, when you've got a Welsh assembly, that's what you've got as a parliament. It's an English assembly, It's just we choose not to call it by its correct name because it'll upset too many people and they'd all vote to go back to the old system.
Oh, I think you're wrong, Carl. We don't have one. We don't have a parliament or an assembly.
We got 3 foreign powers running this country. One is the UK government, which is in the City of London. That's an independent state and not part of this realm. 2, we've got the European Union governing us. Now we've got Islam governing us, telling us we've got to pay tax on halal food and forcing our kids to eat halal food at bloody school. So we got 3 foreign powers effectively ruling this country.
They're not a foreign power, Jeff.
What isn't?
Islam is not a foreign power. It has no jurisdictional influence.
It's a government.
Alien. Alien.
Government. It's not a religion. Let's get things straight. Call things by the proper name, right? Islam is not a religion. It's a government, all right? Because it charges taxes. Now, what religion charges a tax? It doesn't.
Oh, there is. There is
Catholicism?
Christianity and Judaism.
Yeah, Catholicism.
Anything that charges a tax is a government, effectively. Let's call it what it is.
Catholicism,
Right?
Rome is a government.
Beat around the bush. It's a government masquerading as a religion.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Which
call it tithing. They call
which
it tithing. Be 10% of what you earn or whatever religion says, put that back into society, generally through the church organisation, which pinch your money.
So we've got all these foreign powers running our country. What we need is a British government. Why don't we set up a bloody government in Winchester and start running our own country? Because we haven't got a government in the country.
Because what will happen, the army would come in, especially the EU army, and call it a coup. You'd be shut down, put in prison, and you wouldn't see your wife and kids again.
No, they'd be the coup, though, wouldn't they? They'd be the.
If they reckon, if what you just said that we are regarded as a province or a region,
we are.
If they recognise that fact, under those circumstances, maybe they would call it an internal coup. But
well, the EU, the idea of the EU, what's going to do when we've got 600, got this wrong, 620 or 640 MPs in Parliament. What's actually going to happen?
At the moment.
How many?
650 we have currently.
All right, 650. But what the EU's plan is to actually put it down to about 34 divisions within this region, not country. So you're going to find there's going to be 620 MPs all out of a job.
But they'll still get paid, Carl, so they don't care.
Oh, they'll definitely get the pensions, won't they?
Yeah, so they don't care. They'll still get the money and stay home or wherever it is they're going to go and do nothing. The regional thing and the new they're going to bring in mayors, the mayoral system. That's why that Manchester and other big cities were conned into taking, because the mayor under the EU system, once it's all sorted, federalised or whatever, the mayor will be completely and utterly in control. There won't be any votes. What he says goes. And a lot of the mayors are Muslim.
Is that
Andy Burnham?
Yeah. Andy Burnham in Manchester.
What's the official statistic for that figure, Lynn?
Which figure? Which one? I'm sorry.
The majority of mayors are Muslim, did you say? Is that right?
No. If I said majority, I misquoted. There are a lot of Muslim mayors currently, not the majority. But there won't be as many mayors as there are. That's why they made Manchester into the big Manchester area, and Andy Burnham would, if we were.
There was a statistic thing. There was a statistic thing I saw, but he said to look at the proportion. If there's 15% of a certain culture in your country, if you actually look about the councillors and the disproportionate percent, so they're a lot higher. I think that gone up to 40%. I think it was on this thing what I saw weeks ago. But basically saying for a small minority of people in this country, they're actually a lot more offered to councillor MP of how many's there, which is a bit strange.
Well, it's not strange because that's the way it's being done.
It's the plan.
Yes, exactly.
I heard that Cornwall is completely in the EU, but it's part of the EU completely. Cornwall, 'cause it's so the entire council is a corporation. And
Every council in the country is a corporation.
yeah, I looked that up. But there's a lot I couldn't find. Most of the big cities ones are corporate.
Did you look on Dun and Bradstreet?
I looked on a company's house.
No, look in Dun and Bradstreet. That's the international. You look at it online.
Is that the one that John Harris recommended?
Yeah. Yes. One of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them. But you have to have a full subscription. And at the time when John and they were doing it, they paid £2,000 to get the full facts of the files that you were looking at. So what you're getting is a base skimming of similar to LinkedIn. You'll get a name and a company, but you won't get the full facts and everything. Unless
you won't get the accounts and stuff, but you can verify that they are registered as a company.
Yes.
Right.
And also, a lot of the companies, when that came out about 8 years ago, was they started taking it down or shifting the name, changing the names to the people associated with it, so you couldn't find it as easy. I think they came into a super
Every MP I checked, they're all registered companies as well.
While we're going out live, folks, I want to play a 2-minute video for the sound. It's Shahid Malik, Justice Minister, Labour MP for Dewsbury. It's 2 minutes, that's all it is. And this is what is coming to the UK, all right? If you bear with me, just a couple of minutes. Is that okay, folks? We agree with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, here we go. You'll find this interesting. This is a Muslim. This is a Muslim Justice Minister, a Labour MP from Dewsbury. Here we go.
This is the plan.
Yeah, hang on. Just playing it now.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Friends, Assalamu alaikum. Although I'm now Minister for Justice, working alongside the Lord Chancellor, Jack Straw, who sent us the wishes, I was until 3 weeks ago Minister for International Development. It's also been a privilege working with Islamic Relief, Muslim Aid, Muslim Hands, and many others. Come on, a round of applause for the Muslim NGOs.
NGOs?
My work as International Development Minister has resulted over the next 3 years with the UK assisting Bangladesh to the tune of £370 million. Pakistan, inshallah, £480 million. Palestine, inshallah, £243 million. Yemen, in excess of £100 million, not to mention Sudan and Somalia. I'm proud of the achievements of the Muslims of this country from '97. In 1997, we got our first Muslim MP. In 2001, we had 2 Muslim MPs. In 2005, we had 4 Muslim MPs. Inshallah, in 2009, we'll have 8 Muslim MPs. In 2014, we'll have 16 Muslim MPs. At this rate, the whole Parliament will be Muslim. But you know, we've got 4 Muslim MPs. There should be 20 Muslim MPs in Parliament. And inshallah, very shortly we'll see that. And I'm confident, as Britain's first Muslim minister, that inshallah, in the next 30 years or so, we'll see a Prime Minister in this country who happens to share my faith. Today, we're showing the true face of Islam. Our future in this country is very bright. Thank you very much.
Either our MPs are incredibly thick, or they're actually in on it.
They're in on it.
Aye.
They're in on it.
Say again.
I said either our MPs are incredibly thick, or they're actually in on the game thing, in on the plan.
They're in on it, I reckon. What did you say then?
I said they're in on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're giving too much credit. It's not like clever people, is it? They're just puppets.
Well,
maybe some of the backbenchers are a bit thick. I mean, Diane Abbott might not be.
But that shows you what's coming to the UK. So if we end up with a, Sajid Javid or whatever his name is as Prime Minister, we'll all be praying to bloody Mecca within a few years, and Christianity will probably be outlawed in this country.
Have you all heard of the Barcelona Agreement?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Well, have you heard of the Marrakesh Agreement, which was signed on the 16th of May?
Marrakesh Agreement? No, I haven't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You need to look it up because it's the same as the Barcelona Agreement, but instead of it incorporating open borders to all of Asia, the Marrakesh Agreement is complete and utter open borders into all of Europe, to all of Africa.
Well, Europe will be a wasteland, boy.
Marrakesh Agreement. It was signed, presumably by our government as well, in May. 16th of May it was signed. Go and look it up.
Interesting. I've seen a woman doing a speech, and she was Jewish, and she said that something like words to the effect that Europe will no longer be the monolithic countries of old or whatever, and they're on about, you know, the destruction of Europe. It's on about basically the destruction of Europe. And
we're not going to be white anymore. That's the goal, is to make us
cultural. That's right.
No longer white. Yeah, that's the aim.
She said the Jewish will
play a big part in that, and they'll be hated for it.
Yeah, you remember it. You know the speech. Obviously.
I do. Little grey-haired woman, looks like a little sweet old nanny from an American movie or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
the wicked witch.
I need to walk the dog, so I'll be 10-15 minutes maybe. I'll put myself on phones, so if you're back on, I'll catch you. If not.
Okay, Carl.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, Carl.
It's not too far off the plan, really, is it? Islam will be used to attack the West.
I think the Jews are behind all this. I think they're behind the EU. They're behind all of this sort of stuff. It's all communist. It's all communist design. The EU.
Are we talking about the crypto Jews now, or the Jews?
Zionist.
Crypto Jews.
Yeah.
They're not really Jews, are they now?
No, they converted.
Real
didn't
Jews.
They didn't do a full conversion. And now
That's why they're into the Talmud.
They're behind all this. They're turning Muslims, deliberately trying to turn Muslims against Christians and Christians against Muslims. They're deliberately trying to start up this war. And they'll just be sat in the middle, watching it just play out. That's what they've got in plan for us. And you can see it happening. I can see it happening. It's just, you know, they're just going to be sat back laughing at us.
If anyone follows my group, posted something the other day. Israeli lawmaker, our race is superior to all others.
That's what they think.
They basically do what Germany did.
This is what I don't understand. You hear people calling out the Islamic religion or faith, or what you want to call it, as a supremacist religion. Why are people not calling out Talmudic Judaism as?
Because we're not allowed to.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's anti-Semitic. Well, you know,
we're not allowed to.
Yeah, but it's worse than you think it is, because Israel is the top dog in technology. They own all the massive technology companies.
They do.
Anything goes wrong.
Operation Talpiot.
Yeah, Talpiot. Yeah, the one where they plan to.
Yeah, go on.
It's a program for giving Israelis companies to start up.
Yep. Do you know when our NHS had a little bleep last year?
Oh yeah, heartbleed.
Yeah, that was like them telling us to behave.
Yeah, it's just like when Iran was attacked with Stuxnet.
Well, if anybody thinks Islam is bad, Talmudic Judaism is just as bad. It's equally as bad. In fact, in a way, it's more dangerous because it doesn't look like an army facing you off like the Muslims. What it looks like is subversion. They're the subverters. They're the infiltrators. They're the one that gets in the middle and turns everybody against everybody else. They're far more dangerous than the Muslims, in my opinion. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, but do you know what worries me? Do you remember the gathering of Eid a few days ago?
Yeah.
We had 140,000 people
in Birmingham
in one place. Yeah, and we had Tommy Robinson in prison. And how many do we have? 20,000. Yeah. And we're not organised. So we're screwed.
Too much bickering. We are.
And the Muslims, even though they probably don't know that they're being used as guinea pigs, but they have got a better organisational skills than us.
That's exactly right. They're being used as pawns by the Jews, the Talmudic, satanic Jews.
Even the Jews are being used as like scapegoat for what the Zionists are doing.
The Jews don't like the Zionists.
Well, when I refer to the Jews, I mean the Zionists. That's what I'm saying. The Zionists, ones that are running this shower of shit. Pardon my French. They're the ones called.
You're still alive, remember, Jeff?
Yeah, I know. I don't care.
Did he swear?
He swore, yeah.
I just said a shower.
Go stand in the corner.
I'm just calling it out as it is. I mean, the fat controllers that run this country, crypto Jews, whatever you want to call it.
Talking about Olly then.
Talmudic Judaists, they're the ones in the middle, pulling the strings from both sides. They're the ones that brought all this immigration down on our country and across Europe. And,
is there NGOs that are out there rounding them up and bringing them over on boats?
Exactly, Lynn. Spot on.
They say the Khazarians are like fiercely intelligent.
They are.
And as intelligence increases, empathy decreases to a point where it's not even there.
Yeah.
It's like a show that I watched a film, not a film, a TV show I used to watch Farscape, where there's two guys. A guy's made into a clone, and his clone is really clever, and he's just who he is. And they come across a problem. And the one who's really clever figures out a way for him to survive and all his mates to get killed. Whereas a normal guy who's not got the massive intelligence, he figures out a way to save everyone. Even though the intelligent guy figured out a way to save himself, he wasn't intelligent enough he didn't even have the empathy to save his friends. So it's an intelligent thing to say to hide their intelligence and lower the empathy.
Yeah.
That's why they say, leaders are psychopaths.
Well, that's right, isn't it?
Well, I don't think you can link the correlation between intelligence and evil. I don't think.
You don't think so, no?
No,
not entirely. No.
I think anybody.
Maybe the Khazarians are.
Anybody who's intelligent or.
I don't mean intelligence. I mean super intelligence.
Yeah, but no, I mean, even super intelligence, whatever level of intelligence, right, is irrelevant to whether somebody chooses to do good or evil. As far as I'm concerned.
No, I don't think it is. Because why you wouldn't
have...
If that was the case, you wouldn't have scientists doing all these tests on animals. And, they don't actually have a heart at what they're doing when they're using humans for guinea pigs. When it comes to like vaccines, for example, when they just push them out without even just say, "Is this okay?" Well, it's got a few problems. Never mind. We'll just send it out and see what the problem is.
It's just individual choice whether somebody decides to do good or evil. Lacks a moral compass. It's just a matter of personal. It doesn't matter whether you're.
No, I think it's logic, to be honest.
People that are intelligent or stupid can be just as evil or just as good, depending on what they choose to do.
Let's just think like the Khazarians. If you could save the planet, entire planet and its resources, and in order to do it, you only had to kill 90% of the population, with the remaining 10% that could breed. And get the population back to its normal numbers, what would you do? Would your empathy kick in, or would you do it for the good of the?
Sorry. Could you say that question again, Carl? Because it didn't come across very clear.
Not Carl.
Oh, sorry, downliner.
Carl's gone to walk the dog.
Sorry, downliner. Repeat the question again, but.
So let's think like a Khazarian for a minute, or even or Illuminati, whatever. Just let's think about that for a minute, right? They love the Earth, yeah? They love the planet. But they don't like the fact that we're all useless people just using up its resources. So, in order to save the planet, they find that they have to destroy 90% of the people who are consuming the resources.
That shows they're not that smart at all then. You're saying they're super intelligent, but if they were that smart, they'd realise it's not the general people that are causing the damage to the planet, but the corporations that are causing the damage to the planet. The planet is not overpopulated.
No one said it was overpopulated. They said it was, obviously, loads of people said it's people who want to get rid of us. But
these people, I'll tell you what they are.
It's the resource usage. It's the resource usage. That's what I'm talking about. They think they're killing 90%.
Yeah, well,
the strain is gone. The strain and the whole planet is gone.
Well, pure stupidity on their part. I mean, these people are Malthusian idiots, right? They're eugenicists by nature.
Yeah, they support eugenicists. Yeah, so do Tories.
They follow the writings of Thomas Malthus. They're Malthusians, right? And they've got this crazy belief that the planet's overpopulated and we're the ones destroying the planet. It's not.
Exactly.
Bad management. It's just bad, extremely bad management by the same people that are proclaiming this. They're the ones doing the damage by their stupid policies and allowing stupid corporations to get away with doing ridiculous damage to the planet, i.e. people allowing GMOs from Monsanto, which is now Bayer, and things like that. You know, all this sort of nonsense that goes on, the fracking and that. Are the people responsible for fracking and destroying the water aquifers and poisoning them? No. Are the people responsible for genetically modified organisms? No. Are the people responsible for all the oil spills and things like that? No. It's the big corporations that are doing all this damage. That's the crazy thing about it. Depopulating the planet will not save them.
You just don't need us anymore. That's it, because of automation. We're just useless eaters.
Yeah, all I'll need is people to maintain the robots that they use for slaves.
Yeah. Ultimately.
So they don't need us. They don't need to feed us or water or anything. So like plants. So they think getting rid of 90% will make the resources last much longer. They would give a chance to the earth to regrow or whatever. And we're useless anyway. We're just a strain, and they're the ones who are. It is eugenics, where they decide whether you live or die based on your worth.
Indeed, it's just arbitrary eugenics. And that's what it is.
But not everyone subscribes to eugenicism because it's inhumane.
It is, absolutely.
Playing God.
Exactly, yeah, and that's one thing you should never do.
They think they have the right to play God and make decisions on who lives and dies. And that's basically what it boils down to. A bunch of psychos. You know, it's like the old saying goes, power corrupts absolutely and absolute power corrupts. Or something like that.
Indeedy.
Try to imagine this, or imagine if government was actually run by a machine. Not humans, because humans are corruptible, but a machine.
Well,
do you think that machine would make decisions that are based on logic and overall outcome, or do you think that could try to balance
logic? And I don't think you'd like the outcome of it either.
Exactly.
Problem with computer, you only get out of a computer what you put into it. So if you put shit in a computer, you're going to get shit out. Pardon my French. So it's a case of programming. Now, a well-programmed, trustless system which doesn't rely on human decisioning. In a way, could potentially be a good thing, but it depends. Well, I mean, not necessarily AI, just a complex software program or whatever, maybe. But
you're saying that's a good thing, are you, Jeff?
That's still a human element on it's human.
I'm saying
I'm talking about artificial intelligence, where something could think for itself.
I'm saying it could potentially be a good thing, depending on the programming. If it becomes a trustless system that doesn't rely on humans, because humans are fallible, and there's always the element of human error. So it depends, like I said, on the programming, but it potentially could be a good thing, but it could also, if it's programmed badly, then it could be a bad thing.
But artificial intelligence has already determined that the human population
is expendable.
No, not expendable.
It's useless. It's good for It's good for keeping me maintained, but I don't need all of them, do I?
It's already determined through that android that they did on the interview, and the reply to the question was, "What do you think of humans?" And the program determined that the human race was completely out of balance, was harmful to the Earth as a biosphere, and should be eradicated.
That was Sophia, wasn't it?
Yes, Sophia. Yes, yeah.
you sure you haven't been
Nice.
watching too much Terminator with Skynet and all that?
And you know, there is one called Skynet. There's a project that the Americans are doing. It's called Skynet, isn't it? I mean, it sounds like they're inviting what's going to happen. But in terms of Sophia, that was very strange. Why would you call it Sophia? And Sophia is the Gnostic, the woman, the Gnostic who created the imperfect Earth.
Hmm.
Yeah, so they named it after someone who was actually a bad god.
So what are the solutions?
Here we go, solutions again. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you got to sit it.
We all,
They want to sit
we all
here
know
and
the
talk
problems,
again.
don't we? So it is the solutions we need to be thinking about.
We all know the problems. We don't want them sitting here for 6 hours every night talking about what they're doing.
If it's just us who could change it, then we know what the situation, we know what the solution would be. But it's convincing 65 million people.
No. If I let me finish. If we sit here for 6 hours every night and talk about solutions, we may get somewhere.
Yeah, but we're also live on air, and we don't really want the enemy to know what we're thinking.
Yeah, you can't give away the game plan, can you? Right now, we just played the clueless. Like, this is happening. What are we going to do about it? And then when the live show was off, right, this is what we're doing. You can't give away. We call it national security. We'll play them at their own game. So what are you going to do? Can't tell you. National security.
Okay, then. Here's a question. Why are we so disorganised then? If there was a question that was posted earlier, why aren't we organised?
So, too many self-opinionated, self-righteous, selfish people.
But the human mind has an individual opinion, doesn't it? It's a point of view.
Yeah, but I would step back if I cared about it's like Moses in the bulrushes. Is he the one that was going to get chopped in half? I think he is, isn't he? If I had a choice of being in a high-powered position or stepping back and letting somebody else that was better at it than me do it, yeah, I'd say you do it because I'm not very good. You take over, you do it, you have the credit for it, and I'll step back. But people don't want to do that. Everybody seems to want to be right.
You mean no one wants to lead?
Everybody wants to lead. Everybody wants to lead.
But nobody will lead then, but everyone wants to.
Yeah, nobody's prepared to say, look, put everything together for the greater good. I mean, even at the moment, it doesn't matter who I'm talking about, but there's like bickering between different groups. There's bickering within groups. And it's like, I'm thinking, that we've not got a hope in hell of ever sorting this out, when we can't even forget differences and work towards the plan. It's like dealing with children. It really is like dealing with children. Because we're not important. We are important, but in the grand scheme of things, each individual one of us is not important. We're just a cog in this big wheel, and if we don't all come together, that's it. I'm afraid.
So that's the problem, then, isn't it? They've promoted individualism as opposed to collective.
Ooh, we don't have pubs, do we? We don't socialise the same. We sit in our houses with your TV. You get things delivered to the house. You don't like know your neighbours. Years ago, you all used to know all your neighbours and be talking and in and out of each other's houses. All that society is gone.
That's why they got rid of estates. They said it was to do with crime, but it wasn't. It was to do with the community.
Yeah. And it's not by mistake. It isn't.
It's by design.
Yep, exactly. But even now, it's this crisis time, and I think it is a crisis. And if I don't like you, okay, you go and stand over there and I'll stand over here, but we're still going in that direction after the same person. I don't want to talk to you, but I'll still march with you if you're after my same enemy as me. And it doesn't matter if we've all got different ways of doing it or different. Does it matter? I mean, somebody might have an idea A and somebody might have an idea B. So why slag the person off that's doing A because you think B's right, and A slags B off because they think A's right? Why not? Why don't we just do them both? One of us might be right, but keep having a go at each other. It's just undermining everything. It's driving me mental. It really is, watching it all. It's like,
I think the analogy you're saying is like, you live on a street and you've got neighbours. Some neighbours you don't like, some neighbours you do. But then the council come in and decide to level the whole area. You have to come together to fight it.
Exactly.
Regardless of differences.
And the fact that she borrowed a bowl of sugar off you 2 years ago, never gave it back, is irrelevant. You know what I was going to say then, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's bigger than us. And if we don't forget about our own personal likes and dislikes about this person and that person, they said this and they said that, and oh god,
But for this to happen, though, we'd have to.
It will be our downfall.
For this to happen, we'd have to stop doing what we're doing now and go town to town like a double glazing salesman.
Well, that's the only way, because there's
like watching robots running through set.
This is a nice close-knit group that all think similarly. Whether we know each other, like each other or not, is irrelevant. We all recognise what our enemy is, but does it matter how we get there? If you want to try that, you try that. Yeah, of course. I'm not going to slag you off for trying something different because I think I'm right. You might be right. I might be wrong. Who cares? If we're all good.
That's what we need to do.
There's a lot of heads I would like to bang together at the moment, but it's all to do with egos and they said to me and they said that to me, and it really is utterly and truly pathetic. And unless it stops, forget it. Forget it.
See, that sounds like a plan.
It's just basic common sense and decency, respect for other people's opinions. And of course, no, we're not going to like everybody. And of course, we're not all good. And of course, we all make mistakes, do things and say things wrong. We all do it all the time. People that live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. There's nobody that's perfect, has a right to point a finger at anybody else, because none of you are perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us are. So let's just stop it and work as a team.
Yeah, we could do cold calling sessions, but we would have to figure out a pretty good script to explain what we've learned in the space of 5 minutes.
I'm not going to say it. I'll say it when I'm not on air because I don't really want to broadcast it to the world.
So, good afternoon, sir. Don't you believe? Do you understand that you've been lied to your whole life? Would you like to get even? Well, meet us at this point, at this time.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
We need to go around.
This 23rd might actually be a good thing. Let's see how many people are awake on the 23rd. And it's not just a huge racist issue.
It's nothing to do with race. It's nothing, honestly.
No, it's not. I know it's not. And I know the media is going to make it out it is.
Well, they will. It doesn't matter what we say and do. They will do that anyway.
I want to see how many people voting in facts that we know what the EU is, as opposed to just being wanting to get rid of migrants. Because a lot of people voted on the migration thing because that's what the papers pushed.
Yeah, I didn't vote purely for migrants because
I voted on the bureaucratic corporate protectionism model.
Yep, not being like, I want to rule ourselves, thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to run back. I don't want a place. It's like being in a park life concert in the everywhere you go, everything's more expensive. Everywhere you go, everything's more expensive. And when you get outside, you notice how ripped off you'll be. Because there's no competition.
Do you know that in the UK we pay far more for everything that they do in the rest of Europe?
Yeah, I know that.
If you go on the European website and look for tickets, train tickets and stuff.
Yeah, that's because they've got nationalised railways.
No, they can buy tickets to come and travel all over England with huge discounts to what we pay.
What's the combined tickets from the EU for the UK?
Yep.
Cheaper.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
That's
Everything that we pay for is inflated. It's all about it is and always was about bringing Britain to its knees because they fear us because of the nation we are or were. Sorry, they had to destroy us, and they've done it from within through the government.
So in that sense, the worst place to be in the UK would be London, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think we should build a big wall around it.
What, around London to keep everyone in?
Wherever the area line goes that all voted for Brexit, literally build a huge wall, and then anyone that's outside that wants to go in, throw them over the top. Make sure all the MPs are in. It's a Wednesday afternoon at 12 o'clock when we shut the gate, so that all the MPs are in there with them.
Curfew for the MPs.
You just throw them in, leave them in the walled city. They can live.
I think everywhere's going to be. I think the Chinese wall's not even going to be the wonder of the world soon. Everywhere's going to have a wall.
I don't know. That's just my opinion anyway. For what it's worth.
London's not a part of the UK anyway, is it?
Nope. Well, the City of London isn't. The Mile.
Yeah, it's completely corporation, isn't it?
It's an autonomous state. It has nothing to do. It's not under our jurisdiction. It has its own laws. It has its own tax system, own police force, its own mayor.
So it's a tax haven, isn't it? Just like Switzerland has.
It's the City of London runs the finance of the cabal. The Vatican, which is also a walled city, which is also nothing to do with Italy, is completely autonomous. That's its own state, has its own police force, its own army, its own laws, its own tax system. Is the religious aspect of it.
And with a hypocritical pope that says build bridges and not walls.
That's it.
But the Vatican,
DC is the other one, but that's the military arm of it. That's also not part of America.
To be fair,
sorry, go on.
Is the Italian military will provide aid in an extreme situation. So that's hence why they actually don't need their own military.
They've got them silly men with those red uniforms, haven't they, that march about with the frills on and stuff.
The Pope's private security force. Yeah.
But that's the basic gist of it. Each of those three states is nothing to do and totally autonomous from the country in which it's situated.
So if the Vatican's got an agreement with Italy to protect, and Italy's on the verge of actually leaving trying to leave the EU, how's that going to work out?
I don't know. Don't care.
How's it going to work out as regards to what, sorry?
I mean, what is Italy still going to do under the agreement to the Vatican?
I would say a defence treaty.
I mean, I haven't said that though. I mean, Italy, a lot of people want to leave the EU, so it might not even happen anyway. Hungary wants to leave it. Was Hungary part of the EU? Yeah. The one that Soros just got booted out of.
Yeah.
It needs us and France to leave to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, the founders were Germany and France, weren't it? Well, so it's old.
Germany made an oath to effectively prop up the European Union to its last.
That's probably why their banks, their Deutsche Bank, is actually massively.
It is. Its central funds are held by the German central bank. Hence why the gold reserves were moved to there as a reserve for the European Union. That was the agreement on application.
So what is the BI, the bank? What's the Bank of International Settlements? What's that? Is that just basically all the money around all central banks?
Yeah, that's separate. That's international. That's a global international.
It's part. It's part of it. It's tax haven in Switzerland, isn't it? Switzerland's part of the EU, but not on the terms. Norway terms.
That's up for debate of what Switzerland is, but that's another subject, isn't it?
It's a cuckoo clock.
Isn't that where the guy who owns IKEA lives?
I don't know. I know that everybody that has any money has got a bank account there.
Yeah, they've also got their own police force.
Everyone's allowed a gun. to protect the rich people's gold and jewellery, which is in the bank.
Got to protect the rich.
So I don't know, guys.
Yeah, so all right, and where do we start? I'd say I mean, I can't really see it happening. That's the problem. Lots of people just come around from different parts of the country. It's called door to door, and just educate people. It's a big job on it.
Depends how much time we've got, you see, because each day, seriously, Mrs. May is behind the scenes stitching us up. All that we see on the news, and well, I don't watch the news, but all that's portrayed as negotiation and stuff, it's just like panto to keep us distracted.
God, if it was just clever enough, we could hack the TV networks and send out a broadcast at see.
I thought about that.
They must have that place locked down. Because anyone who gets access to the signal.
Intercept the airwaves.
They did try that, didn't they, to pretend to put a fake alien message?
Yeah, we need to work out. We need somebody clever. I'm sure we could get our heads together and work out.
So you think Anonymous would have done that by now?
Are they real? Are they?
Who knows? They're not. Who knows? Yeah. They're anonymous.
they
just seem to hack banks.
The belief was that they were real in the initial stages, but then they were infiltrated for 6 years.
Right. Okay. So there might be disinformation agents now.
Well, they're all under agreement to work for the FBI, grass each other up.
Right.
Well, there was the morning raise that was shown on CNN about 5 years ago, if you remember.
Yeah.
One of the main founders was a supergrass.
Right, we can forget about Anonymous then. Let's someone else. What? QAnon, aka Trump.
I don't know about that either, really. Oh, no, I don't know. It's a lot of talking and working out and presumption and prediction and.
Why don't we create a secret society? Yeah, why don't we play the Freemasons at their own game, create a secret society, and set up 33 levels, and anyone in the first, second, and third levels has to go out door to door.
That's not us though, because I hate the cold.
Oh, we'll be the.
Can I just make the sandwiches?
We'll be the 4th, 5th, and 6th degrees, so we do the telephone calls.
Lynn made an important point earlier about the internal disputes and infighting and not getting along. And within an organisation or a structure or society, there are rules put in place for a reason, and that's to stop exactly that sort of thing. That's why there's a hierarchy. That's why there's a chain of command.
Right, so the secret society is not such a bad idea. What's the incentive to join, or you haven't got any money?
Oh, and people don't actually know there's a problem. So
well, exactly,
saying you're going to get your life back. Well, that's well. What do you mean?
The incentive
on my holiday.
The incentive, would be education to know what the incentive was then.
The incentive for the Freemason Society was a communication network. When you go to some of these meetings, you pass your business card over. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. And they all go round and round. And they create a business network.
Yeah.
That was one of the founding principles of it. And it was quite clever. And it still works to this day. All right, it may be a little bit corrupt, through, contracts and tenders and that sort of thing.
Overlooking child abuse cases and that.
No, I'm just talking about the initial idea when it was set up.
Oh yeah, the initial idea was businesses to get together to help each other out,
exchange information, exchange education, that sort of thing. But the bad elements or the rotten apples came in with they come in with everything, don't they?
Yeah, well, they come in with that view that Rothschilds had.
Sometimes they get in the barrel and they're fine, and after a while they realise that they can take more out, and then they turn rotten whilst they're in there.
A bit like MPs with the expense accounts.
Yep.
But see, here's the irony of it with the expense accounts. The Chartist movement was actually set up with the principle of that a member of parliament is to be paid, so it allowed the common man to become an MP because the elitist rich had the advantage in the early days. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that was set up to help the poor.
It was set up to allow the poor to become part of politics, to give a more fairer view of, the general population.
But that's been abused as well. There are some people who are actually in their working class backgrounds. They're MPs, isn't there? That woman from Manchester who's in the Labour Party.
Who's the organisation that's supposed to oversee the Houses of Parliament? Is there an ethical committee? Who is the authority?
I don't know. The Speaker's quite powerful.
But MI5 have powers of arrest over the Prime Minister, don't they? Yeah?
Yeah.
MI5 has been infiltrated, hasn't it?
Well, MI5 and MI6 are known in the past to go rogue and independent to certain degrees. There have been cases in the past. But they are still loyal to the crown. In all of those cases, that was quite interesting. They believe in it. Sorry, go on.
I was just saying, maybe we need to look to the past, the previous civilizations and how they fell, and maybe just
all we need to do is revert back to the Constitution. It really is that simple.
But these people are terrorists.
Can you give me an example, Lynn?
Themselves?
Lynn, can you give me an example?
Of what?
If you
How that would be the solution?
If you reverted back solely to the Constitution,
the Constitution would have to adapt for today's society, because obviously we don't live in 600 years ago or 800 years ago when the Magna Carta was first written. It's written in the Constitution, as I understand it, and I'm really not an expert, that it can only be changed or amended if it is for the benefit of the people. So they're not allowed to implement or make any changes that are to our detriment. So if they were to say to us, you're not allowed to bear arms anymore, that's not allowed, because that's not to our advantage, that's to their advantage to be tyrannous. So
we already fell for that one, didn't we?
Precisely.
Yeah, well,
we have a constitution at the moment, but it's not enforced, so it's worthless.
But only because the people don't know that they have a constitution, and they don't know how powerful they are.
But you have a ruling authoritative elite that are abusing that element, and the vast majority believe they are powerless, aren't they? They need to have, if they don't have the willpower or the true patriotism element, then it's worthless, because they're sitting at home waiting for someone else to do it first.
We're going to have to, aren't we?
Yes. If you think about it, you'd have a chain reaction effect. Now, I will use Tommy Robinson elements. I was at work yesterday, and I was walking around, and I heard people whistling the Tommy Robinson theme. And I heard, and about an hour later, I could not get it out of my head. And I was doing it. I was walking through various areas, and I was whistling to myself. And I thought, you're doing it yourself. And the lads that were doing the roof were all shouting it off the roof for a bit. And I did find that amusing.
That catchy, was it?
It is. I can't get it out of my head.
A bit like Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn.
Oh God.
Not
Like
much
that,
to
that
it,
would-
but catchy.
That's what we need.
Football mentality. Some kind
No,
of
we just
theme
need
tune.
something that's catchy and all encompassing, and everybody sort of.
This,
I don't know.
but in it, this comes back to the same problem I was saying earlier. Hi, everyone, again. The media, the elite media, will actually hijack it. If they want to record everyone singing, "Oh, Tommy, Tommy," anything else, it actually loses the whole thing about independence, isn't it? So it's about getting what we wanted to vote out of Europe. And it's going to be portrayed by the media, just not by what it actually is. Now, I've been thinking about it, and I was like, well, do I go or don't I go? If I go and I want it more about the European being out, getting the right and the vote what we had, and I'm in a crowd of people all shouting, "Tommy, Tommy," I'm not actually protesting. I'm on the wrong protest, aren't I? And the media will be portraying it that way regardless. So if you've got 250,000 people turning up from 4 or 5 different protests, they'll all be put in the same group of these are all right-wing Tommy Robinsons, and they're all singing it.
Carl, there's nothing we can do about that, I'm afraid.
Yeah. But I've actually thought twice about going because of it.
Yeah.
Not that I disagree with Tommy Robinson, but what I'm going down to London for isn't for him.
Yeah,
I can see it being turned that way.
A small element that might try and monopolise it as a Tommy event, and it's not.
It's like saying a whistling tune in your head, it will stick, and next thing you know, you'll be whistling it while everyone's singing it.
What, you think the 23rd will turn into a free Tommy event?
I think I definitely think I think the media will definitely portray it that way.
Well, we can't. We're going to ignore them because they're liars anyway. So why am I echoing all of a sudden?
Yeah, Tommy's message wasn't about migration per se, though, was it? It was about rape gangs of kids.
Islamification. Yeah.
Specifically involving Muslim people, which accounts for 4% of the population. And only 2% of that 4% are the ones who are actually doing it.
I think the problem is that the ones that aren't doing it aren't speaking out against it.
Exactly. Well, you could say that about Zionism. Where are all these? I mean, we see a lot of Jews using it. We don't seem to see anyone protesting at the fact that their religion's being trod on.
You do, actually. When the Palestinians were in London the other week, there was lots of Orthodox Jews there standing with the protesters, protesting against the Zionist Israel.
But something's not right, does it? It's almost like they're not organised. People are against it. Almost not as organised like us.
Well, I say we've got to just get off our own high horses and forget our own personal things.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think something's going to actually happen before people are going to do something about it. Something bad. Just like in America, 9/11. Even though we know the story about that, but kind of put American towards a certain type of thinking. All Americans towards the thinking that the Middle East were terrible people and that Hussein was a horrible man. But you need a huge event to actually get that kind of collective view.
Well, Middle East.
So something has to happen. Well, no, but something has to happen for that to happen in the UK, I think.
The Muslim is being used. I'm not saying I agree with them being here or Sharia law or any of that.
Yeah, it's obvious that they're being used. I mean, why would Israel attack Palestine when they're taking all the Islam Muslims to the west? Yeah. It's not like they don't care about them, do they?
Not at all.
They just bring them in, just like the EU did with us, suck you in, give you stuff, suck out your industry, and then leave you for a non-country state that's under their control.
The focus for the common man. Well, I'm echoing that as well.
Yeah, it sounds really bad.
Yeah, I'm not hearing any echo.
It's
I'll
you then.
mute.
Do we have to refresh?
I will mute. I'll mute, and if I'm not talking, see if it.
Is that
Test.
better?
No.
No change.
No. Do you have to do a refresh?
I don't know. I can't. I'll get kicked out if I touch mine.
Well, Carl's the admin.
Carl can add us all back in.
If I can learn how to work it out, I tried the other night and it wasn't quite successful.
Do you not right click? Do you not right click on the user and then just say chuck them into that room?
It's something like that. I did try, but
Gosh,
I've got
Carl,
you
I
in.
thought you were all technical.
No. This is all new. Ollie added me to a show. I don't know.
Do you not make me an admin? Make me an admin. Do you not make me an admin?
I don't think I can actually, and I would have to ask Ollie before I did anything like that as well.
I've just worked with Ollie for 6 hours fixing these streams. I'm sure he'd be okay with it.
I'd have to work the system out, mate. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'd have a look.
Jeff, are you still there?
Jeff, have you gone to sleep?
He's muted.
He's gone for his tea. He'll have made a nice spag bowl.
Okay, I'll just carry on. Basically, the common man on the street sees something that they can see in front of them to focus on, whether it be religion or a ethnic group. And we need to stop doing that because the people that cause the problems are not them. That's just the result of policy, isn't it?
Exactly.
And it just causes anybody listening to this show or broadcast. You can't portray hatred or divide. It becomes tribe against tribe, and we've gone back 1,000 years. We're not going to get anywhere. The problem is the people making the policies without asking the opinion of the people, which is what their job was. We've just become subverted, distracted on multiple issues. And if you concentrate on the cause is the people that are making the policies or the people in Parliament or beyond that, whatever you believe. Otherwise, you're just going to spend the next 20 years going round and round in circles.
Exactly.
I agree. I always said it was the problem was the people, not the Muslims or the Islams or anything like that. Nothing to do with that.
But there are elements within this conversation. We're talking about Jews. We're talking about Muslims. We need to stop it. Stop doing it. Talk about the MPs, the corrupt MPs who are not doing their job, and the police constabulary who are not enforcing their job, and the military who are not upheld in whatever they should be doing.
What, the military we haven't got anymore?
We haven't
got much of them. We've got no submarines.
We have got submarines.
We haven't.
I've got submarines.
Not watch the thing the other day. The UK column. Guy's been looking into it. What's his name? Brian. Garish. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Looking into it, and proposal by the MP was they're going to put some more money into the military, and part of it's going to be submarine enhanced submarine things. But they haven't got any submarines to enhance.
We have got submarines. We've got 4.
None that work, and we've also got.
Okay, I agree that 3 are under maintenance or update or repair programs.
Don't tell me they're leaking.
What about the huge? There's someone left the window open. What about the ship that's been in dock for 90% of the whole year? It's not actually been anywhere.
At the end of the day, Brian Garish is subject to the same information that everyone can read on the internet.
You know,
added to the fact he was a military man.
He was, but he's not open to up-to-date information by a day-to-day basis, is he?
I mean, what about the ship that can't actually sail because of the heat that we spent a lot of money on?
Which one's that?
The aircraft carrier?
Could be the aircraft. It's something that just can't leave the dock in hot weather.
Yeah, the aircraft.
The
aircraft carrier that we've got no aircraft for.
The aircraft carrier, yeah. I mean, what is the point in making a freaking ship that can't even handle a bit of heat? It's not going to be no good. It can't go down to the Middle East, can it?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that issue. But
watch the UK column 2 days ago. I think it was 3 days, maybe.
To be honest, I can't watch the UK column anymore.
Oh yeah, we spoke about that, didn't we?
I can't. It's talking about issues that are the result, the problems.
Yeah, they're talking about the productions of problems as opposed to
Yeah,
source.
no results, no. Oh, oh dear, that was about to boil over. Stop.
Like Tommy, they attack the product and not the source.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, didn't we make a nuclear submarine? But we actually have to ask the Americans if we can actually have the nuclear warheads and put them in the submarine because they're actually not ours.
No, well, they're not ours. They're under a lease agreement. They're under a lease agreement. That's true, actually.
See, we're useless.
We're a joke.
We've been stripped.
4 nuclear submarines, and only one's workable. The other 3 are in the dock.
That's
and
right.
We can't carry a nuclear warhead unless we ask permission to load them onto the ship.
And we can't. We've got a ship that can't leave the dock because we can't leave the dock for 90% of the time because of the heat.
No, the aircraft carrier. Well, I don't know recently, but it did. Has it completed its sea trials?
What sea trials? It's been in dock for a year.
No, it didn't. It went down to Gibraltar and it went off to the Indian Ocean.
90% of the time, though, it was in a dock. Whereas the average, I mean, before maybe 10 years ago, all ships were about 40% spent at sea, 40 to 60%. The average was spent at sea. Now it's the average spent at just sat in the dock. And I think it's intentional anyway. I think the whole point of guttering the military is intentional because it kind of puts us vulnerable to join the EU military system.
PESCO.
PESCO, that's it, yeah. Yeah, they've done the same. They've done the same with the military as they've done with. Because that way we're useless. We can't do anything for ourselves.
The purpose of the exercise was completely and utterly to disassemble all our industry, our farming, our fisheries.
Yes, because we weren't designated as the agricultural sector. That was France. France will be the agricultural sector of the European Union. We are the financial sector.
It's clever, really. It's like
tourism was another thing we were allowed to have.
Destroying countries through financial.
Yeah, designated category. Yeah, tourism, financial sector, and a few other things.
Actually, Lynn, we've been designated a tourist country by the EU. In other words, we're a tourist economy.
Yeah.
That's how crap our country is now.
Is that what our queen is all good? Tourists.
That's how crap our country is now. We've been designated a tourist economy by the EU.
Everybody's echoing except Downliner for some reason.
Am I echoing as well?
Do I
No,
echo?
you're okay now, Lynn. Cole's okay.
See, I can't do
Jeffrey's
anything with the main controls here like Olly does, so all I can suggest is if you want to try and refresh your screen, and I'll try and pull you back in on the show. But I can't promise.
Am I still echoing?
No. Not to me.
Are we actually echoing on the show?
I just chucked myself into the green room and then back again. That seems to have cured it then.
I think we need to speak to see if we echo.
1, 2.
You're okay.
I'm okay.
I've got a
You're okay.
Test.
You said test 3 times, and that could sound like an echo.
All right, sorry. Am I okay?
Yeah, but you sound okay.
Yeah, well, I can hear a feedback through my headset.
No, I'll just go check the live, see if we sound okay.
Oh. Yeah, so anyone listening in the live show, we're just sorting out the audio as we always do.
Is it Daily Chaos?
The Daily Chaos, yeah. A bag of plutocracy.
Tech issues. Yeah, go on. Who can do the best Olly impression? There you go.
Should get Gail Marie Gandhi in there because she's had some good comments on Facebook. Says we're the ones that keep the whole system running. The working class is so powerful but don't even know it.
Exactly. That's what we're going to wake people up to.
That's the problem. what the media has done in the entertainment industry. It's made you feel like you don't have any power. And people believe it. Yeah, it's like those shows, like The Interceptors, can't pay, will take it away, giving you the impression that the police are actually more powerful than they actually are.
Yeah, well, when the police actually do come and do threaten to knock your door down, they're not supposed to.
No, they can't do it
When
because
they
they're working for a corporation then.
Corporations.
No, they're working for a corporation, aren't they? When they're supposed to be actually there to keep the peace in the civil, right, in a civil manner. It's like when a bailiff calls up a policeman. A policeman can't back up a bailiff.
Yeah, but they do.
They do, yeah. That's because they're muscle for hire.
They say they go there to keep the peace, don't they, and make sure that the court law is being implemented correctly.
Exactly, and then they get the bailiff who pushes through the door, which is only legal in certain bailiffs, like High Court, which is illegal, and the police actually allow it. So they're allowing the law to be broken by a corporation.
They do the same thing with fracking protests as well, don't they? So
fracking as well. They shouldn't be. What they're doing now is wrong for fracking. Because corporations don't have the right to hire public service that we pay for to protect them from us.
Policemen attend to the fracking site.
Exactly. It's like it's no wonder. It's no wonder there's no crime being solved.
Do you know what? They go down, there's like 50 of them in loads of vans, and they pick on all these old pensioners and women, and they pick them up and they push them and bully them. We should go down there in our thousands.
I went to a lot of fracking groups and gave them that information. Remember when we spoke to that policeman a couple of weeks ago? Section 26. So I told them to print it out and take that, carry a copy of that with them at all times when they're outside protesting fracking.
Good.
Because for anyone who didn't keep up with that, it actually says that if police act unlawfully, then they're subject to up to 14 years in prison and/or an unlimited fine.
Mm-hmm.
But one other thing you should do is always have your phone and always film it, because these judges are so not all of them, but some of them are so corrupt. If you haven't got any video evidence, they're just going to rule against you.
Well, that's the thing. The police can take your phone off you. You've got your banking system, or your
They can't-
personal email.
They can't take it off you because it's battery.
Because of what? Sorry.
It's battery if they take the phone off you.
Well, they've got a machine now. They can just plug your phone in, and it gets all the information off your phone, and you can go and look at that. So you don't even have to try and it hacks your phone basically. But if the
Do it live streaming then. Do a live stream.
If the police wanted to get this information and enter your house, they'll have to get a court order. But you don't have to get a court order to go through your phone. And when you consider how much information you have on your phone, your friends list, your family list, your banking
Exactly.
details.
You probably got more than you've got in your house.
Oh yeah. Well, it's all in one. You know, most people used to put this sort of stuff in a safe and keep it safe. And now you walk around with it in your phone, and the police don't have to get a court order to get into your phone. So they can take your phone, and they've got a machine in the back of the car. They'll just plug it in, and it'll rip all the information off your phone.
What a joke! And but if you actually film it,
spare phone.
If you film it at the time though, and they try and take it off you, it's battery. So you can actually get some compensation for that.
Welcome back.
Yeah, you're echoing in here. On YouTube, it's perfectly okay.
Yeah, I did look at Discord as well before. That was a little bit, well, it was okay.
How is it on Facebook? Anyone who wants to comment?
I think.
See if that makes a difference. Back in a minute.
I've got another comment here. Thomas White. And to think we had planes for that ship, Cameron scrapped them as soon as he got it, and they'd never flown.
We had the European fighter plane as well, didn't they? We couldn't fly because the technology program was not capable to actually fly them, and something stupid at one point, wasn't it? And we gave the tornadoes up.
It's the same with the F-35s, isn't it? I mean, they built these ships, these planes that cost billions, and you can't even fly them. They've got so many problems.
Yeah,
it's a bit.
The actual software was actually ready. the Australian government did a report on it, where after they'd been obligated to buy so many or whatever their quota was, and then they found that it wasn't suitable for their air force. It was laughable.
This was selling junk, weren't they? Before it's even ready. It's not selling smarts.
Everybody wanted the F-22, and they said, "No, you can't have that. You don't want that." But we've got the F-35. That's just as good. I don't know what's going on, because I've heard reports that the F-22 program has been the actual the means to manufacture certain components have actually been taken offline, so they can't actually make any more. Then there was the whistleblower about the F-35 program who was actually working on the programming elements, who turned around and said that it's a complete farce. 50% of it doesn't even work.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, you could say, you want the F-35, but make sure you don't bring it out when you're flying it. Don't fly it in the rain, right? Because it peels so much. You don't want to do that. Yeah, don't fly.
Why does it melts?
Was it the wrong sort of paint? Was it the wrong sort of paint on the plane?
It's because it was an early model. It wasn't turtle waxed.
I mean, both of our aircraft carriers were supposed to have a
way to hold aircraft.
No. they originally went for the catapult system, which is not the steam version, the magnetic one. But then they found it was too expensive.
So they went for
the slingshot. Yeah, they went for the old slingshot in the back pocket.
I think they wanted an extra $4 billion each per unit to put that in.
I think all this outsourcing, because these MPs are so incompetent when it comes to money, because they've never actually experienced not having money. They'll take any price and we'll pay it. It's like I was talking to you before.
That's on purpose. It's asset stripping.
Well, yeah, it could be, because for example, the CSA contract with Serco was $6 billion.
Right, what they do, everything that is normally. This is terrible. I can hear myself. I sound like Pinky. Do I sound like Pinky and Perky?
No.
Right, well, I do to myself through the.
You sound lovely.
You're echoing to me a little bit, Lynn, but I think we're clear on Daily Chaos. So if you just go a bit slower, you.
Okay. But it's basically everything which belongs to the people. Like, for instance, all the NHS buildings. When Gordon Brown was in power, he decided to sell everything that the NHS, all the NHS properties. We, the people, bought, paid for them and own them. They're not his. We never gave him a mandate to sell all our properties off. This is just one little tiny thing. So now what we do is we rent them all back at exorbitant rents.
Yeah.
That's what happened. We owned them, we'd bought and paid for them, so he sells them to his mates for peanuts, so his mates can cash in and make mega bucks, and then we've got to pay for them all over again when we've already paid for them once.
But the initial...
Sorry, go on.
The initial contractor foots the bill for construction, and then the perks of it is that they get the 25 to 30-year lease contract agreement. So they come in and literally charge £400 to change a light bulb. That's what they're allowed to do. I can't remember. Is it FAS agreement or something like that? All government buildings.
It's about fleecing us. It's all about fleecing us, sucking every single penny they can out of us, the people, out of our heritage, out of all our wealth, so that we'll be left completely and utterly poverty-stricken as a people and destitute, because the Labour, Conservative, all of them have sold off in one way or another all our assets to corporations so that the corporations can capitalise on facilities and infrastructure that we'd already bought and paid for and owned. They've sold it off, and now we've got to pay for it all over again.
Yeah.
They've completely and utterly ripped us a new one.
All the politicians and bankers need to be thrown in jail and their assets stripped and given back to buying up resources again.
They need to do what they did to Iceland. In Iceland,
actually just take the public resources back and just take them back, make them public property again, strip them of their assets, all these bloody politicians and bankers, and put them in perpetual debt for the next sort of 10,000 years.
I think Gail
works.
I think Gail's got another comment. The working class always come to a compromise if there was any grievances, because the working class had the skills and the rich had the money. The middle class has made things fuzzy between us, and that's a problem. I agree with that, actually, because the middle class, it's almost like a not quite rich, not quite poor, but right in the middle.
The middle class are actually being annihilated. They want a poor class and a rich class. They're actually overtaxing the middle class.
And it's the middle class, and they're voting for Tories?
Yeah, generally. Well, that's a two-tier system for you, isn't it? But the people who are getting up and out working
are the ones who are in poverty.
They're paying the taxes for the ones in poverty. And it's
the rich have got all the money, do none of the work. The middle class do all of the work, but have got none of the money. And the poor, well, they're just there to scare the shit out of the middle class.
Do none of the work, and have got none of the money. But I don't care. I mean, it's I think in a humane way. You don't just want to kill everyone who's poor, do you?
I think that's what they actually want to do, I believe.
It is what, yeah, well, we can see that. That's what they want to do, but I don't think ethics. I mean, business is business, but they're not going to say that applies to the humane element of our species. It's kind of politics. It's completely inhuman.
You become a socialist country, and you become dependent on the state for everything. It goes back to what Lynn was saying about an hour ago.
You're like Venezuela, it's socialism, isn't it?
You'll end up being a socialist state, and even if you drag back the trains, the hospital, back into state ownership, you actually are doing what socialists did. So therefore, if you did that, we're not actually right-wing, are we? It's actually a socialism idealism. I personally, on your VAT, I'll take that off. I would take gas, water, and electric off the stock exchange and take the VAT off. It'll save everybody 40% on the bill. Never mind, get rid of the green tax. You're just being played every single which way. Get those commodities back into public ownership, and not have countries owning our waters or train, and actually make it beneficial to the people. If you want to help poor people, that's what you should do. Now, that doesn't actually make me right wing. That actually makes me more socialist, doesn't it? I'm more of a socialist in that
Thanks,
manner.
Gordon.
What, more centralist? Yeah, we need to hear that, don't we?
Someone said, "Oh, so therefore you must be like a Lib Dem if you're not quite conservative right wing."
Lib Dem.
He said you must be a Lib Dem. I nearly died and choked at the same time. I said one thing I am not is a Lib Dem.
Oh, Lib Dems are really effective, weren't they?
You can't get the head round. You could be right wing and have also idealisms which the left has, and that's okay. You're either black or white to them. You're either the left and you're a left, or you're right and you're far right now. Not just right, you're far right.
It's that illusion.
They actually think
get rid of that left and right as well.
Yeah, it's that illusion of even having a left and right.
But they actually think it's a Lib Dem now. They actually believe to be in the middle is Lib Dem when it's not.
Well, they've always said Lib Dem was centrist, didn't they?
Well, they brought them in just to be able to control the voting even more, didn't they? That's what they did, because it was it was a one-tier system first, wasn't it? Until Labour came into power and it became a two-tier system. So what they did is they created a third tier and a fourth tier to actually dilute the vote of Labour, and then they realised, we can control it by a liberalism, and I confuse the actual word of being liberal-minded to liberal mentality, and they can use that as a third option to manipulate the vote again. So that's all they created it for. Why change it on a two-tier system?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? The illusion that people think is either humanity on the left, greed on the right, and there's no middle. No. If you think differently, if you think, we could have some business type moves, but we could also have humane moves at the same time. Oh, well, you're not a left or a right. You're a centrist.
What I see at the moment is where you got the Corbynist sort of movement, which is stepping away from the Blair New Labour ideology. They're actually trying to bring that across as more liberal-minded, but it actually isn't. It's more far left. If anything, Tony Blair was in the wrong company. He should have been running the Liberals, shouldn't he? And he stepped into the Conservatives instead and put his liberal idealism into conservatism. And that's where the problem started.
Yeah, I mean, under Blairism, it felt like we had two right-side parties. It still does. It still does, with one guy in the middle.
As a friend of mine said, or someone that's been on here, there's two different cheeks of the same backside.
But that's the problem now, isn't it? I mean, because Labour's such a mess, and the Tories are doing such a good job at killing everyone and wiping out, making the rich richer. No one knows where to go. I think, yeah, we'll do a no confidence in government on the Tory part. But once they're out, who's going to step in? It's going to be the Labour. It's going to be Labour, isn't it?
But Labour's exactly the same now. Labour's exactly the same. You've got 99% of MPs who are millionaires. When they've got stock exchange and they've got housing, properties portfolios, they will never vote to let the banks fold. They'll always vote to pay taxpayers' money into a system to make sure they can keep what they've amassed.
Exactly, they've gone from a corporate, a working class structure to a corporate one.
So they'll never vote it out and say, no, let's go and do what Greenland did and let's go and bang our pots and pans and then we'll take them to jail after. They'll think, shit, we'll be in real bad trouble here, wouldn't we? Not only would we lose our housing stock market, I borrowed too much money, but also I'm going to lose my pension. That's why they're fighting so hard with the EU and wanting it through and trying to push it through. If it's nothing else, they know they're going to lose their subsidies. The bigger farmer you are, the more subsidies you get.
And an MEP position is more than the Prime Minister's.
Well, some of them have got a lot of land and they get a lot of subsidies off the EU, not just the pension to run those big estates they've got. You know, and what's all this about being a lord in Parliament and the money they get from Parliament tax-free? And they're sat there telling us how to vote or not to vote and interfering with what's actually meant to go on as a mandate from our government.
Hypocrites.
And they're not paying any tax into the system off their wage we're paying them.
I know.
It's a joke.
Yeah, but we're letting it happen, guys.
How do we change it all?
Lynn's going to start a party, aren't you, Lynn?
I'm going to start what, Carl?
Start your own party, Lynn.
You're going to start a party and we'll stand behind you. We'll vote for you.
Practical women's... But no, I can't say that. It's sexist, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll get done for gender stereotypes.
Common sense. We should just call it common sense.
Call it none of
Common
the
sense party.
They'll probably change the definition of what common sense is and change
common purpose.
Harry, won't they?
Yeah, it is a bit. It sounds similar to that, doesn't it? We don't need a party. What we need is a movement.
Another grassroots.
Yeah, we need a movement, not a party. Because party politics is the problem, in my opinion. And keep
it's one big boys club.
Yeah, reinstating the same system over and over and over again, just with somebody different in charge. I mean, yes, Anne-Marie Walters got an opinion on Islam, but that is all she's got an opinion on. I'm not saying that what she's saying is wrong, but she's not really an ideal candidate to run the country, in my opinion, because she doesn't have... I heard her before the very last time she was standing to be the boss of UKIP. She gave a speech and she said something, and I thought she was all right until then. And she said, the people, the ordinary people, you know, the little people, as Farage calls us patronisingly, aren't really that interested in politics. They're not bothered about what goes on from day to day. They want somebody else to do that for them. I thought, no. Very condescending. I think I actually take the conversation. It shocked me that much that I've gone off her since. She's a dictator that wants power, and she's also a socialist.
That's almost as crazy.
Sorry?
Who were you talking about then, Silent?
Anne-Marie Walters for Britain.
It's almost as crazy as MPs saying that we didn't know what we voted for when we voted for a referendum.
I mean, she's got no experience. So how on earth could she lead the country? She's got no idea about the banking system or common law or the constitution. Sorry, Carl.
Doesn't matter, does it?
Hospitals. She hasn't, and that's what I heard. She hasn't got the worldwide experience in all these sort of
She hasn't. She just she's got on the Islam bandwagon. She was in Labour. She's a socialist. She's a wrong left-wing socialist in Labour. She didn't get very well in there. So she's going to have to go off in a minute.
Using Islam as a platform.
She's used Islam as a platform, but she's not very intelligent and doesn't have very much to say about anything else apart from Islam. I'm not saying I don't like her, and I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying she's not that bright.
Hey, Lynn, here's a way to become a prime minister. Just set up your campaign and praise Israel throughout.
Yeah. I can't do
just
that.
keep doing that, and you'll get to the top. You'll be.
No, I can't do that because that would be disingenuous.
Yeah, but then once you get in, just change your story. Do what Trump did.
Yeah, but never just be another politician, wouldn't I?
Well, say what people want to hear, and they're changing it.
No, I couldn't do that. I'd have to say it exactly as it is, warts and all, and you could take it or leave it.
Could work.
And that'd be the end of that.
Could work, but like with the growing population becoming no longer British, that it's not too long before none of that's going to work.
I know. We need a plan B.
No, what we'll have soon? What we'll have soon is a prime minister that looks like Dame Edna. For politically correct gender equality.
It's driving me mental, I tell you.
It's gone insane. I'm trying to figure out where to move.
Well, we need a plan B, and then we need a plan C.
I mean, my first choice is Russia, but it's too cold.
Yeah, but they're all part of it. Where can you go? They're all part of it as well.
Russia seems a bit more on level. They seem a bit more, Orthodox Christians.
They actually give free land to anybody who wants it in Siberia.
I know Siberia, but I'm not that keen going to Siberia. One
thermals will be fine.
One neighbour every 10 miles. No, maybe. Yeah, where? Cuba? No, not Cuba. Although we haven't heard a lot of Cuba recently, have we? I've heard Cuba for years. Yeah, very quiet. If I want to go back to the 70s, I'll go to Cuba.
Cuba capitulated.
Obama wanted to make friends with Cuba and give him a bang, didn't they?
He did. They capitulated.
Yeah, we'll give you McDonald's as well as the Rothschilds Bank. Here you go. How do you feel about that?
Franchise.
Gave him a heart attack and he died, and his brother started running the country. Well, geez, imagine that, Obama going over and doing that. They've caused so much trouble in Cuba over the years. They blew a plane up by mafia, and it was full of Cuban civilians. Blew that.
They've done loads, and they've done like with the SAD.
The other one they did, they blew a plane up out of Barbados, which is a different country altogether, full of. So they had a plane up going out of another country, civilian. But you don't know who's on it. I've had the. But they did that twice, and the Americans are in uproar that planes were meant to have crashed in aluminium tubes, crashed into a steel structure, which exploded and then knocked down another 5 buildings at the same time. I find remarkable. They'll take that on board, and no one's. Everyone's questioning it, but it's like they're happy knowing it's a theory.
Did they find Castro's passport as well?
Yeah, completely one tapped with a load of white dust around it. Yeah.
It's like they repeat them. So when it comes to that kind of thing, I mean, Gaddafi, Hussein, it's all kind of in the same thing. They make something happen and they blame it on him or her.
Well, they infiltrated the ARA and also the Welsh nationalist, and then they reckon, green flagging by burning things down or making sure they blow places up and encouraged them to do it, because by arresting them and getting them out the system, you can show on media that you can't do this sort of thing. They're trying to nip it in the bud. So the problem you might have on the march coming up this weekend, they might make a wrong police decision and allow some certain Muslims to get the right film footage what they're after, and also have infiltrators within the crowd as well. Never mind thinking about people wearing red hats, red shoes, the studded belt, trying to come in. So well, that's how the police is. There's the thing going through it, isn't it, where about the police force not being honest, and they've infiltrated Greens groups and some women activist rights, and they've ruined their lives. They've had secret agents going in, having families, second families, because they've got one back at home as well, and they had to go through all the suffering. And it's come to light, on top of this information, that they were actually doing this. And they say, well, you can't tar the rest of the police just because this happened. Well, I'm sorry, it's not.
You can't use that argument anyway against a corporation.
That's what they put on TV news on the BBC, what I saw. I nearly fell over. And I thought, how can she stand there saying you can't tar this with every other policeman or policewoman in the police force? And I thought, yes, you can. If you've got one department of your business acting illegally or not appropriately, I find it.
Did anyone watch that BBC thing that was on recently? What would happen if the UK had a civil war?
Really?
Yeah, they actually put it on a Radio 4, I think. Like, it's almost like they're trying to incite something. They did the same thing in Syria, actually. That caused civil war. BBC infiltrated the network, didn't they? And because they were inside Syria, working with the terrorists or the faction groups to cause civil war in Syria.
That's what they want here, but I think
exactly, yeah, but to do
that we haven't done so yet, to be honest.
It's crazy. Why would you show that? Why would you say what Britain had a civil war?
We need a civil sit down.
Oh, we need to get big.
If we don't get Brexit, we'll have a civil war.
We need to get torches and go and burn down the BBC in London.
Nah, you got to be careful what you say. You could get it done for incitement. So,
I know, yeah, incitement. Yeah. All right, that was a joke. Right?
Just say hypothetically.
Hypothetically, we need to get torches.
But yeah, you'd cause if anything did happen to the BBC, knocking on your door straight away, mate. So
that was a superb interjection, Carl. Superb interjection, sir.
That was a test.
Just to see if Olly's about.
Listen, yeah, I am. Look, I need this machine back. And somebody's echoing. We're getting some echo somewhere. It might be me.
Yeah, you're echoing now.
Let me. That might.
All right, Olly. Good.
Is that better?
Good night, mate. Then. Thank you, and thank you all.
Well, thank you, and thanks everybody on the comments too. It is echoing. It's doing something weird. Anyway, it's been basically a successful, tech hassle-free kind of a night, which is really good.
Yeah, it was good. Pretty smooth.
Can I suggest we continue this tomorrow?
Yeah, we've been on a long time now.
The bottom line is we've got to get people to London on Saturday. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, London first, and then we'll discuss afterward. Next.
I'll be the lady. I'll be the lady with the big hat and the moustache.
Nice. Cool then. Thank you. Right. Okay. More tomorrow.
That was a long show.
That was a long show. We've got some kind of a gnome going on in the background. Kind of like the audio equivalent of Richard Branson. Hey, Jeff?
I was just going to say, if you want to continue the debate, we can go over to my rant. I'm putting the link in the Hall of Crack Mirror and Power if anybody wants to know.
Do you ever sleep, Jeff?
Nice.
Do I ever sleep? No.
Do you ever sleep? No.
Too many people are asleep. We need to wake them up. Well, yeah, this has been a 3.5 hour broadcast or so, and I reckon really nice they're continuing on. I didn't hear much of it. Weird echo somewhere. Hey, Lynn?
Did we have any audience?
Yeah, we had 15, and now it's gone down to 6. But people aren't going to listen for 3 hours, are they?
I don't know. On and off. We got people on YouTube too, and on D-Live, God bless them, which is the place to be listening to this show and watching it. Yeah. D-Live, they can actually see me now. Yeah. Whoa, what a bonus. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to wrap this up.
18 people watching now on D-Live.
Whoa. Thank you, D-Live. I actually earned some money on D-Live tonight. Thank you for liking the show or whatever you do. About 12 quid I earned or something. Please, like it on D-Live. Register people on D-Live and like it.
You get bonuses. You get bonuses on D-Live for doing stuff.
Cool.
That's brilliant. Let's think of it on D-Live.
Yeah.
You must hit a milestone.
gov.ly/chaos. Register there. I like the new outro, yeah? A lot. Good music, no?
I still like the intro.
Yeah, the intro's good too. Oh, blimey, that's it. Right, ciao. God bless you.